Hey everyone, Arsenal Fan Circle here. It's Thursday night again, and that means we gather together and we talk about the Arsenal. Welcome, Tony, for joining, and Sam the man.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Um,
Seems
Gary,
I'm fighting
Gary
spirit.
won't be joining us tonight. He is graduating once again, or rather, I should say, his daughter is graduating. So, um, big up Gary and big up his daughter and for graduating and he's having a
Yes.
nice family night out. So, well, we're having a family night in, Sam and Tony.
Well,
Uh,
definitely.
it's been a week since I talked last time, Sam. A lot has happened in a week. Two quick wins here. West Brom, we relegated Sam Allardyce,
Yep.
and
So not up.
we sort of we'll talk about the Chelsea game a little bit later. But are we taking credit for that Chelsea game? I mean, they had their eye on the FA Cup final this weekend, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much. But you know what, Tony? It's really nice for us to profit off of Arsenal type mistakes. And that's what Jorginho did last night for Chelsea. Let's take a moment.
Tony, he's talking to you.
I was trying to get my keyboard working, but it doesn't want to work.
Let's have a moment's silence for Jorginho.
Well, he's obviously gone. He's obviously gone to the passing school of Xhaka. So he's sort of trying to follow in his footsteps. And yeah, I mean that was a typical Arsenal mistake. You'd think that would be happening down the other side of the pitch.
in the summer.
Yeah, that's it. He's coming to Arsenal this summer. Jorginho.
Coming to Arsenal. Jorginho is coming to partey.
So as I said, normally I think that'll be happening down the other side of the pitch, but not this time. So yeah, we'll take it.
Hey, Mr. Bungle, what's cooking, people?
Mr. Bungle in the chat.
Thanks for joining. 1 minute late, shockingly late timekeeping.
Shockingly unprofessional.
That's actually us 7 minutes early since we go on Irish time,
but.
All right, so Sam, start us off. It was last Sunday. It was West Brom, and Big Sam Allardyce came to the Emirates.
Yeah, you know what? It was calmer, wasn't it? I mean, earlier this season, he was, when he just got hired by West Brom, I thought it was actually quite a very, I thought it was a harsh decision, on to let Slaven Bilic go like that. I thought he wasn't doing too badly, but obviously they knew there was going to be in a relegation battle, so they thought, okay, who's good at that? That's Sam Allardyce. Let's get him in. That's obviously what their trainers thought was. And Big Sam comes in, the big walrus, ugly bastard he is. He comes in and flapping his gums straight away. He was playing against us, and we were struggling. And he was like, "Yeah, Arsenal are definitely going to be in a relegation battle this season. Arsenal aren't all that," and blah blah blah. Flapping his fat gums. And it was just lovely to have that full circle karma, to be the team that sends him down. He's probably going to get sacked at the end of the season because Sam Allardyce is completely useless when it comes to actually developing a team. So it's he's only good for short spurts of motivation. But it didn't even work this time for West Brom, did it? So it was lovely to send his fat walrus ass packing. So yeah. So it was great. And listen, I mean, at the end of the day, the game doesn't really mean anything, does it? I mean, the season. Yes, it's nice for us to win games. Yes, we are technically within a chance of actually getting 7th place with the other results going our way. Yeah. So and winning against Chelsea was a nice bonus to actually give us that win and give us that chance again. So yeah, but by the end of the day, though, I didn't even watch the first half of the West Brom game. I just saw the second half, and it was like one of those feelings. Now it's like, the season finished for me on last Thursday with the Villarreal thing, and the Villarreal terrible performance we've got gone through with that, and it's just like, I don't really care right now. I just want to get this season finished, just get our business done in the summer, and let's reset for next season, see what we can do for next season. Basically, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, Tony, it's all of us feel a little bit differently. Some of us will watch all of the games, and we completely understand those who don't want to see all of the games. It's a bit of a damp squib right now after It hurts me. I'm looking at our schedule I'm looking at Manchester United's schedule, and their last game of the season is a cup final, a European Cup final, and ours is not. And Tony, going back to West Bromwich Albion, we beat them 3-1 on the day. But for me, the glaring thing for me was Bukayo Saka selected at left back, something that we could have done for the Everton game, something we should have done for both legs of the Villarreal game.
Yeah, I don't know why the fuck we didn't do it. We seen it work last year. We've seen it work earlier this year. Instead, he wants to use one of his sons back there at left back. Slow as fuck, lets everybody pass him. Villarreal had speed. We got killed with that speed. I don't know why he waited until the game after to try it. Nothing he does makes any logic to me. I guess it's Lego binary or whatever his brain goes on.
Lego binary. I like it. Yeah.
Sam, this is something that was developed over a year ago. We started playing Bukayo Saka in that left wing back spot, the left back spot. It's not as if he hadn't played there before. You know, it beggars belief why he went away from that, and he wanted to innovate with Granit Xhaka, and that was fine against Sheffield United away from home, and other wins that we had with Granit Xhaka away to Slavia when the team played well and covered up some of his deficiencies. But as we warned, against Everton at home, up against Richarlison, up against Chukwueze, against Villarreal, it was always going to be a Band-Aid that was going to rip off and the bleeding was going to start.
Yeah, we talked about it here, didn't we? We said, it's okay against Sheffield United. It's okay again. Well, just about okay against Slavia Prague. They're not great teams, but then when you start playing decent teams and quick strikers who are technical as well, like you said, Richarlison and Chukwueze, it gets difficult. And it was just one of those baffling decisions again, like playing a false nine with Smith Rowe in the first leg of the Villarreal game. Just one of those complete baffling. What the hell are you thinking about moments with Arteta? There's been quite a few of, unfortunately, this season. And playing Granit Xhaka, I'm still trying to figure out the logic behind it. Okay, he's left-footed. Yes, okay. He normally slots into that role when we're moving forward. The guys are moving into attack. He'll sort of cover the left position. But actually using him as a left back or like a left-sided defender, I just can't get my head around it. I really can't. Like you say, first of all, we actually have a fullback who can play there called Cedric, who for some reason is completely out in the cold now. He's never going to get a game again by the looks of it. God knows what was happening with him. And then you've got Saka, like you said. He would be a natural fill-in in that position, especially when you're playing against someone with speed. Richarlison, Saka, you meet Richarlison on speed. Same with Chukwueze. Yeah, just a completely mind-baffling decision. And then, to kick us all in the teeth, he goes and does that in the game that doesn't mean anything. It's just, what the hell is he? This guy was he on crack or meth or something? Was he? I don't know. It's just that Lego binary. I don't know what that Lego binary is doing, but there's something in his head that's completely not working. That's for sure.
And you know what? I'm going to be baffled at the end of this season because he will have done some good things this season, Sam. Namely, winning some games away from home against the six.
Well, the thing you have to sort you have to give to him is that yes, we have played better against. We have had some good results against the top six this season, right? I mean, normally in recent seasons we've been really struggling against the top teams. We've either been battered or not really had much of a chance, and we've sort of done well against the rest of the teams on the table. Whereas this season, it seems to be a bit of the opposite. It seems we struggle against everyone on the table apart from the top six. So at least, I mean, to give him some kind of credit, yeah. I would say getting those results we have against Manchester United, against Chelsea,
Leicester away from home.
Leicester away as well. It's only Manchester City really we haven't really done very well against in the league.
Or Liverpool.
So, and Liverpool as well. But we've got loads of good results against the other teams. So yeah, I mean that's the only good thing. And yeah, he had some things looking okay, but he couldn't develop on it. That's the thing. He couldn't develop on it. He's lacking too much in the fundamentals, as we've been saying. And he just couldn't develop on it. He keeps changing his mind on things and in and out with players here and there. And it's just there's too much experimentation going on. There's too much inexperience behind what he's doing. And you can just see it in the way he thinks and the way he keeps changing everything around. And he keeps second guessing himself. And it hasn't been working. It really hasn't. We've had a terrible season as a result of it, really.
Yeah, definitely. Tony, what's your 2 cents on it, Tony? And we should add, Tony, you had some issues last Thursday. You got bitten by a spider, is that right?
Yeah, I think it was a spider last Saturday. It was actually 1.5 week ago from past Saturday, but yeah, went to a hospital 3 different times and urgent care twice and stayed at the hospital until about 1 o'clock. Had a very good nurse.
Your hand blew up, really big as well. So listen, I'm glad you're feeling better. So your take on it's Arteta is really the project, right? The club is building around the manager at this point in time. There's no other club in the Premier League that's doing this.
Yeah, it's kind of a little late for manager boot camp. He needs to get the sack. We need to have somebody else picking up players this summer. We got all the wrong records. We got most losses since the 1920s and a bunch of records from the 30s and 20s, but also very negative that we broke.
We've been record breakers this season, yeah.
Yeah, he said he'd break records. He didn't say which records he'd break, so I guess he's keeping his word.
It's terrible.
All right, well, let's look back to the West Brom game. As we said, Big Sam was relegated, and Sam, it was kind of nice. We've had our issues with Sam Allardyce down through the years, especially with Bolton. And yes, I think we've moved on. I've forgotten some of those old wounds have healed a little bit. But it was kind of nice for us to be the team to send him down at the end.
Oh, yes.
I think that rankled with him because he likes to be seen in a good light in the media as well. Sam Allardyce does.
Well, he's got a good reputation for keeping teams up, and he's one of these so-called motivational managers where he'll go in and rustle some feathers and shake some players up and get them performing short term. He's a very short term effective manager, and that's why he's been hired so many times to straighten seasons up short term for various teams. But this time it didn't work, and it was great. It happened against us. We were the team to send him packing. As I said, it was a lovely bit of karma. It comes full circle from earlier in the season. And yeah, it's great to see the back of him, really. He's a dinosaur in football now. His tactics are so outdated. His footballing style is so outdated. He lives in the 90s, really. That's what he does. And it's just great to get rid of him, really, because he's a horrible, horrible manager, really. Just that's the end. That's the end of it, really. He's a horrible, horrible manager.
And we finally dented his record of not having been relegated. He's had 8 different Premier League teams.
Yeah. He's been around everywhere. Yeah.
I think that's a record that could stand, But looking back to West Brom and Tony, it was really, really showcased the youth that's coming through with Arsenal. Standout players, of course, Bukayo Saka. We've already highlighted him. Down the left-hand side, took that left-back spot and sort of made it his own, and he really gave the West Brom right back a roasting all afternoon.
Yeah, he's definitely been our brightest player this season. Kind of started off between him and Gabriel, but Gabriel's form's dropped and just been
Yeah,
inconsistent since having COVID, and Arteta's been playing him inconsistent and with different center back pairings. But it's nice to see Saka. It's nice to see Smith Rowe, but Smith Rowe both times is more playing out of injuries than the manager saying, "Oh, he's really good. I should be playing him," which you want to see the manager doing, but for whatever reason, Arteta doesn't fancy the youth.
yeah. Well, he likes Saka's a generational player, Sam. Emil Smith Rowe. This was the moment for him to step forward. A really lovely interplay between him and Saka. Sam, I was actually thinking Saka's in the left back spot. Emil Smith Rowe is ostensibly playing on the right. I was thinking, how are our two best players going to be able to link up? They're on opposite ends of the field, but we were able to manage it in this sequence of play where Emil Smith Rowe scored that lovely goal.
Yeah, I mean, it was like we said, the setup was a bit different, wasn't it? Again, and but it worked. You know, Smith Rowe had a good game. Saka had a quite a good game as well. West Brom, not exactly great opposition, were they? I was actually quite surprised at their lack of effort, considering they actually needed the 3 points to stay alive. I mean, that was for their survival as well, and they didn't really show up for that game. I was very surprised about their poor attitude and lack of effort. But listen, that's the way it is, and we played quite well, and we actually scored our chances. And yeah, Smith Rowe had a good game. I think he's been really coming into his own this season. He needs to be. He can't play every game. We need to have some games where we let him rest, or else he will burn out too quickly. We don't want another Jack Wilshere situation where he starts, falling apart physically. So we've got to be a bit careful with him. But yeah, but Smith Rowe is a fantastic talent. The same with Saka, and the fantastic thing with Saka is it seems like we can use him everywhere. Really, I mean, we can use him as a backup left back. We can use him on either wing. He seems to be a really, a versatile player, and that's fantastic. And but they seem to be the only two players who have really been given a chance this season because, as we know, they came in and saved Arteta's arse basically after Christmas, so you couldn't really leave them out of the team. But there's other young players who deserve to have a chance this season. That haven't been given a chance, and one of them is Martinelli. He's been used very sparingly, very strange what the way he's been used. Balogun, again, another. He showed us with his appearances in the UEFA what's it called, the Europa League. He had some really good short cameos there. And he actually scored goals. So I think it was strange. I thought it was very strange. Nketiah kept his place ahead of him when Nketiah showed that he really was not really doing much for us. And again, this is just down to a lot of things we don't really understand with the way Arteta thinks.
It's the loyalty of Mikel. I think he's a little bit too loyal to certain players, Tony. And talking about Tony, Saka playing on the left back against the West Brom, and Willian also on that left side. He actually made Willian look like a decent player because that's how good Bukayo Saka is. He can make the players he plays with look pretty decent, or at least not as bewildering as Willian has been this season.
Yeah, it still doesn't make any sense that Willian's on the field. We got other young players that need to be getting playing time instead of him.
What do you think of Martinelli? I mean, it's going to take time for him to adapt to the centre forward role, Tony.
I don't think so. I think he's, like I've said it before, I think he's a lot like Alexis Sanchez. He can play either out on the wing or as a striker. I don't think it matters much to him. I think he can grow into that role pretty easy if given a chance. He hasn't given been given any time there. So it's kind of hard to develop there just in practice or training or whatever.
I thought he found the going a little bit tough on Sunday, personally. But hopefully we persevere with Martinelli now that he gets another run or two out in the last two games, Sam. Stephen Denham said here, Ray, have you seen Simon Jordan? Not really. I've tried to avoid him. The old Crystal Palace chairman. He's on Talksport going
He's
on.
terrible.
Going
He's
in
terrible.
on Arsenal, calling us a joke of a club and all the bollocks. Love going in on Arsenal, love our hardships. And there's a lot of that going on, Sam, in the media.
Yeah.
Even if we're winning we've won 3 games now in the league on the spin, and we're not getting a lot of love from the media.
No, there's a lot of people who work in the media who have backgrounds from rival clubs, right? They're either either the London clubs or the Manchester and Liverpool clubs. So there's a lot of rivalry there, from previous history and everything that they have. They bring obviously to their punditry, and it often means they're very biased against us. They are, the way they talk and cover things in Talksport and other media channels and outlets. Definitely, we don't have many pro Arsenal people there really. We have a few, but not many. And Simon Jordan's atrocious as that talk shite radio is. It's just absolutely atrocious, full of atrocious people. And I mean
Stefan says,
the quicker they go, the better.
It's Chelsea's own radio station, FFS.
Yeah, no, I mean they're terrible. They got so many terrible. That Alan Brazil, I mean, he looks like a cherry just about ready to pop, doesn't he? I mean, he's so. I think he's so full of whiskey. He's just about to burst at the seams, isn't he?
Of course, these pundits used to be like used to play in the early 2000s, right? About 20 years ago, when Arsenal were in their pomp and terrorizing some of these players,
Yeah, but you got like I said, the rivalry's got people from Manchester, Liverpool, Tottenham, like Simon Jordan's Crystal Palace, and I think he's got a real hard on for Arsenal. I don't know what it is, but he's got a hard on for Arsenal and AFTV and all of that. Well, they've all got a hard on for AFTV because obviously AFTV's taking their business away from them. They're doing what they wish they could do. That is be relevant and be popular with the younger generation and with the younger football fans, and they're not. So they keep trying to copy him and dig into him and everything, and they can't. So they just look stupid. They just sit back and look stupid. They just sit back and look stupid. That's what they are. Simon Jordan, Alan Brazil, the rest of them, they're all pathetic. Ray Parlour, when he goes on there, turns into some pathetic person. He's not an Arsenal legend anymore. He's not an Arsenal legend when he goes on to Talksport, that's for sure. He's a complete wanker. So so it's a shame, but that's what happens, isn't it? They take on a different persona, don't they? Because they try to be more entertaining in a certain way or whatever, and it's just terrible, isn't it? Yeah, big up, Darren. Nice to see you.
Hi, Darren. Hi, Mr. Bungle. The Urban
Melina.
Ghost, Stefan.
Melina's there. Hope you're well, Melina.
Right, Melina. And Steve Denham also. So
all the legends.
Everyone in the house. Okay, Tony. Nicolas Pepe steps forward. We're 1-0 up in the 34th minute. Pepe scores what can only be described as a Pepe goal. That if you're just going to describe it was a Pepe goal, we'd know exactly how he scored that goal, and that's what he did.
You mean he didn't score it off his right pig?
No, it's a trademark Pepe goal. Cutting. I think your man Callum Chambers had the run outside of the fullback, takes the fullback away. Pepe drives inside onto his left, and a perfect shot. Goalkeeper almost gets to it, but a perfect shot.
This is what I caught the replay. I didn't catch it live because I was catching up on my sleep after, like I said, 3 late nights at the hospital past midnight.
So you missed the Willian goal at the end then as well, did you?
Yep. Damn.
A bit of history right there.
For that.
Bit of history, like a John Jensen goal, Jesus Christ, like gold dust. No, that Pepe goal. If we're just to talk about the Pepe goal, I mean, what he did there was that was exactly the type of goal I was expecting him to be doing all season, and for us for a long time, basically. That is exactly why he was brought in, to do that type of run and shoot that ball in that way into the far corner like that. But he just hasn't been able to do it. He's he just hasn't really. He hasn't really performed well. Let's put it this way: he's performed okay here and there, but he's far from what we expected and far from what we should be seeing out of him. There's too much with him that doesn't really work. But he had a lovely goal against West Brom, and that, like I said, that was exactly the type of goal I thought he would be scoring. Between 50 and 20 of every season.
Yeah, as Don Juan says here, thanks for joining us, Don Juan. Just watch Craig Burnley, and Craig Burnley's one of those as well, ripping us after we beat his beloved Chelsea. Yeah, definitely. Hello, everyone on the panel from Miss Molina. Hi, and FIFA boy Darren, my friend. Yeah. So Darren, I was thinking about you against Chelsea. What Darren has always told us: tell Arsenal, do not embarrass us. Please, Arsenal, do not embarrass us. Well, they got the win yesterday against Chelsea. Sam, first time Arsenal did the double over Chelsea in 17 years.
Yeah, first time since the Invincible season, isn't it? So, like I said, it was a good achievement. We've had some good results against some of the top six this season. If we're talking about the Chelsea game now, I thought we had a lot of the game. We did a lot of good defending. We looked very good structurally behind the ball, but we got to say that Chelsea weren't really at their best. They weren't really giving it their all. Like you said, they had one eye on the cup final, one eye on the other more important games coming up. They made 7 changes, but when you look at their team, their lineup, it's still a strong team. Chelsea have a very, very good squad, very deep squad, many good players in most positions. I would say only their goalkeeper, Kepa, is really the one that stands out and might be a bit weak. The rest of their team, I mean, they're Chilwell, James. Okay, Jorginho fucked up this game, but normally he's quite a solid player. They're playing with Pulisic, Havertz. They're solid players. There's 70 million plus players. So to beat them is still a good achievement. We've got to be honest about it and say it's a good achievement, even though Chelsea were unlucky. They had a couple of decent chances, didn't they? And Jorginho fucked up, which was lucky for us. But at the end of the day, we beat them. We managed to defend well, I thought, through large periods of the game. And that 1-0 victory was nice, really nice victory. And it puts us on a nice trajectory now, the last couple of games of the season. Let's see if we can finish off with a couple of wins and at least finish on a decent feeling of actually winning.
Yeah. But I do want to bring you back to Pepe a little bit, Sam. I know we're a little bit all over the place here tonight, because we are covering West Brom and Chelsea. Pepe has actually put up decent numbers this season.
Well, the thing is, Pepe, he might have put up a few decent numbers, but the thing is, when you watch him play,
that's the thing.
He does so many things he shouldn't be doing. The thing that frustrates me the most with Pepe is he has speed and he has very, very good skill. He's a very skillful technical player. He should be able to run past players. He should be able to dribble past players. But he doesn't. Every time he meets up, I don't know whether it's tactically, I don't know whether it's Arteta telling him that's the way he has to play, that is the strategy he wants. I don't know. But every time he gets the ball in a wide position and he's got someone in front of him, he just stops and passes the ball back. Most of the time, 90% of the time. It's only now when he got the ball in the area, he did a good thing going on to his left and shooting and scoring because he got the ball in the air, made a good run and actually got the ball in the area. But apart from that, most of the game and most of the games he plays, he just stops and passes the ball back. He doesn't try to take on his man at all, and that just frustrates the hell out of me.
I think this is the thing, Sam, because if he's going to score 10 goals a season and have 5 assists, there's 15 times in the whole season he's going to look good to you, right? And then there's the whole rest of the 90 minutes of each of those games. He's going to look piss poor.
That's the thing with Pepe. He'll have maybe a couple of good passes here, maybe a good touch here, a good touch there. He might actually get an assist because he has a decent pass into someone who scores. But like you say, the rest of the game, it's like, what you're doing. He's underwhelming, isn't he? Really, most of the time he plays.
Toward the end of Ozil being at Arsenal, I was thinking Pepe is exactly like Mesut Ozil, but just with a little bit more end product in the final years of Mesut Ozil. I don't know what you think about that. That's a valid point or not.
Yeah, I mean, he's that technical player and all of that, but yeah, he's frustrating player, isn't he? I think Ozil frustrated us a lot more with his attitude as well. I don't think Pepe has a poor attitude. It's just I just don't think he's doing the right things. He's just not. I think he's finding the Premier League a lot more difficult than what both he and we wish it was.
As Stephen says here, Tony, I think you would put them in the back of the net if Arteta would play Pepe more. Arteta seems to be more of the problem because Tony, as a player, seems to be getting into his stride, and Pepe was playing really well in January and February. He sort of takes him out of the team and gives them a break, He
did the same thing with Lacazette to start off the season. He had 3 goals in 3 games and benches him. And just all the players, when they hit their form, he seems to bench them. Pepe quietly has 12 goals in all competitions. If he was really given a chance, he'd probably be up there near 20, but he hasn't been given a chance. Lego Man seems to just throw him in whenever he's
yeah, and your dog agrees.
Or whatever he's got going on, and
yep,
really inconsistent. For Arteta, not as inconsistent play as we see from Pepe, but
yeah, that's one of Arteta's annoying traits, isn't it? We can't understand the way he handles players. Like you say, he'll let play 12 games in a row doing absolutely fuck all. But the Pepe, when he starts doing well, he gets dropped. It's just completely. Again, it's one of these things we just can't understand with him. Yeah.
I'm trying not to flick through as quickly here. Flicking through the heavy metal chat here.
Yeah, they're into Motorhead and Faith No More. They are.
I actually love it because I think this is the only podcast where we have 2 streams of different dialogue going on.
We're talking about football when they're talking about Faith No More and magic mushrooms. I mean, yeah. So it's like what the hell are they doing here, really? But okay.
Well, speaking of magic mushrooms, let's get to the Willian goal then. Tony, as William was lining up over this, I was thinking to myself, this would be so like Arsenal, so like Willian, to have him step forward and score a goal.
Are you sure you didn't hit the jump button and hit the brick and the mushroom came out and it got larger? Then he shot the goal? And did a little Mario action?
Yeah, I had this theory that Arteta, he picks players based on their hair has to look like one of those lucky trolls, He picked Willie and he looks like a lucky troll. Louise looks like a lucky troll.
Why didn't he pick
El Neni was a lucky troll, and then that's the thing. That was the only thing that went against my theory was he let Guendouzi go. Looks like a lucky troll as well. He should have kept him. I would have thought he would have been a shoo-in, absolute shoo-in with his hair.
There has to be a cap of 5 lucky trolls on the team.
Yeah,
you can't have any more than that. You got to have some clean-cut Pecky Bellerians, and you got to have some Tierneys in there.
Some Zakas.
Peaky Blinders haircut, Tierney. All that good stuff.
It's kind of funny. The last 2 games, Zaka's been gone and we won.
Yeah, and you know what? I want to sort of highlight Mo El Neni as well. He's actually doing a great job, I think, in midfield. A lot of people give him a lot of crap for being $5 million.
You know what it is? You know what it is with El Neni? I finally figured out what it is with him. And I actually like him. I think he's a good squad player. I think we should keep hold of him for a squad player. And what I really like about Elneny, he doesn't do anything flash. He's not going to give you your, amazing runs or amazing passes or anything like that. But what he does extremely well. And if you notice, he's always available for the defense to pass to him. He's really good at finding space between opposition players, and he's always available to get the ball. So his role is to cycle the ball. So he'll get the ball from defense, and then he'll pass it on to someone else. Normally a sideways pass or a very simple pass, but that is the way we play our football. We develop it from the back like that. And Elneny just fits into that perfectly. And like I said, he is so good at finding that space away from opposition players to be available when the defensive players have the ball. And that's what he does really, really well. But then when he goes further forward, that's when things sort of go awry, really. But that's what he's really good at.
I absolutely agree with you on that one, Sam. Sometimes we think alike and sometimes we butt heads a little bit, but I absolutely agree with you. Elneny is a great squad player, and he's a release valve. Our defenders are not great playing out from the back. Rob Holding's not great, but Elneny will always show with his back to show for the ball, with his back to the opponent, shield the ball, and he'll be able to pop it out to the guy on the wing or somebody in midfield, Partey. Definitely, Elneny is a safety valve for the team, and I think he's a great squad player, and I think he really does help cycle the ball through midfield and help Partey a little bit. Tony, what's your observations on Mo Elneny?
I don't know why the fans have so much against him. He goes out there
because he's $5 million. He costs $5 million. He's not flash, like Sam said. He does the simple things to a very, very high degree of professionalism. He's actually a good squad player. He shows the young players how to train properly. He's got all of the things that he needs. Yes, he's a limited player, but what he can do, he does really, really well, Tony.
Yeah, kind of like me and Stan have always said, he gives you 100% every match. He might be a 70th percentile player, but he gives you all that 75%. He's great to have on the team. Great depth. I think for a lot of this season, he should have been in the first team instead of off the bench instead of Saka, but Zaka's one of Lego Man's sons, so that's what it is. It is what it is.
Granted,
Lego head.
Yeah. And we're getting news, Sam, that some players maybe want out if we don't get into Europe.
Yeah, I mean, there's talk about. I saw an article today. They were saying there's 5 of the senior players who want to leave this summer. They're saying that they've come to Arteta and said they want to leave. I don't know whether there's any truth in that. I don't know, but I was reading that, and yeah, I mean, I think we're going to see. I think this is something we can really discuss tonight if you want. I mean, there's this. I think this summer, as I wrote in our group chat today, I think this summer could be. I think it is definitely the most important summer in my lifetime. Watching Arsenal and being an Arsenal fan, for so many reasons. We can go through it afterwards when you want to start going through it. But there's many reasons behind that, and it's a really interesting talking point as well. What's going to happen? Well, what could happen or what should happen this summer? And there's the senior players who want out. I think some of them definitely. I wouldn't mind seeing go. Absolutely, then I just go if you want to go. I'm not gonna shed a tear when most of them go.
Yeah, we were in a situation where we could probably count on one hand, maybe two hands, Sam, the players that we actually want to keep. Everyone else can go. We're not going to shed a tear about. Sam, as Miss Malini said here, thoughts on Partey. And I actually thought, I was watching the Chelsea game a little bit earlier, we're asking him to do an awful lot. I think we're asking a lot of Partey to carry midfield.
I still think Partey. I agree. Partey has had a lot of disappointing performances this season. But like you say, I think he's been asked to do things that are very difficult for him to do. he hasn't really had a lot of support in midfield that he should really have. I still think he needs a nice rest now in the summer, and to be ready for a full pre-season, to get fully fit, ready to go for the new season. And I'm hoping, and I think that next season we'll see a different Thomas Partey, especially if we get in someone in midfield, a good high class, high level midfielder in together with him that's going to take some of the workload from him and work together with him in midfield. I think we'll see a lot more, because what we see those moments of class from Partey. What he does really, really well that I love to see, that we don't have anyone else in midfield. I'm talking now a deep lying midfield role, not attacking midfield, but the deep lying roles that we don't have is he can break ranks. He can go past the player. He can turn around a player and go around a player, break ranks, and then he's got open space in front of him, and he'll run into that space, and he can actually drive with the ball forwards. And that we don't have a deep lying player who can do that. He becomes closer maybe to a more box to box player. He can be, and you see his passing is excellent. If he's allowed to pass, again, I think this is Arteta holds us back so much with our passing, is he doesn't like us taking high risk passes. Trying those passes that are more difficult but can open up a defence. He likes to keep things simple and just build up play in an effective way. But we've seen Partey when he tries that more difficult high risk pass, he does it well. He can get the ball, he can thread the ball in between defenders, like he did that excellent pass to Aubameyang, against Aubameyang, and that he has that in his locker. But I think Arteta holds it back a bit, and I also think Arteta is keeping him deep as well, not letting him drive forward. But I think we'll see a lot more from him next season.
Tony, you got more to say about Partey? He's a player, I think, that had a lot of good players around him at Atletico Madrid, and he's come to Arsenal. We've been so drained of talent, whether it be Guendouzi's left, if you rated him, Torreira left, and now he's with Granit Xhaka and Elneny, who were limited players. And there's certain parts in the season where Granit Xhaka has complimented him, but I think he's had better players around him at Atletico Madrid, and he's come to Arsenal, and he's sort of been given a lot of work to do, like we said, Tony, in midfield.
Yeah, we haven't surrounded him with any talent. And to me, the biggest thing is I think the entire season he's not been fit. He's been fighting for fitness like Kearney has. We haven't seen him be near his best. Next year, I think we'll see him be better off when he gets his health, gets more adjusted to the league, and gets better players around him. But I think with most things, just him getting healthy. For me, I'd probably rest him the rest of the season like I would Kearney. I want to really play either one of them.
All right, let's bring it back to Willian then. We're jumping around. I understand that. We're going to go back to Willian. We want to go back to caption. Sam, we were talking about this before we went live here. Caption what Mikel Arteta was thinking. What was Mikel Arteta thinking at the moment?
That was one of the moments of the game for me. Seeing that replay of Arteta. His reaction to that Willian goal was priceless. And yeah, like Tony just said, I think it was something like, "Oh well, now you fucking score." Okay, right. Where have you been all season? Like, fucking hell, where's that been? I'll tell you what, Lego head. You've played him all season. He's been shit all season. That's what's happened.
Yeah, and you know what? He's taken a lot of minutes away from players who could have used those minutes this season.
Exactly.
Oh yeah. As Darren said here, I'm glad Emile Smith-Rowe's really picking up scoring now. I hope we see a lot more goals from him in the new season. He scored 2 and 2 now, Sam. Nice finish against West Brom, and
yep. I'll tell you what, that's the only thing really missing from his game is scoring. Actually finishing some moves, finishing his chances, and we've seen it now in the last couple of games, and if he can add on to that and you know, add that to his locker as well, that I'd say that it could be fantastic. If he could score goals as well as setting them up, he's going to be an incredible player for us. Really is. You can see it, and yeah, this is the thing we've been lacking this season, and we lacked it a lot last season as well, is goals from midfield, right? You know, we really struggle having goals from midfield, so ESR scoring some goals would be great.
Tony, I'm thinking of a number for next season. What if Emile Smith-Rowe has an injury-free season? I'm thinking 6 to 8 goals would not be a bad return for Emile Smith-Rowe.
It wouldn't be a bad return, but it'd be nice to see 10 to 15 out of a couple of players in the midfield. Last season, we had a mighty 2 goals from our midfield. When seasons past, we had Rosicky, we had Carzola, we had all them players that could score at will from midfield, and lately it's dried up in a dry hole. It's been our weakness this entire season, especially with Lego Man playing Zoc every fucking game. It's just no transition from the front to the back, no transmission, broken tranny, whatever you want to say. Just the midfield has been absent.
Yeah, the midfield has been absent.
I'll tell you what, I've heard a lot of different analyses through my lifetime as it comes to football, but actually hearing something in midfield being likened to a broken tranny, that's the first time I've ever heard that. Kudos to you, Tony. Kudos.
Yeah.
It's not the first time I've said it.
As Don Juan said
fucking
here,
hell.
Elneny is humble too, no ego, and these are the type of players we need. A few more of these players, the people who don't walk into Colney and think they're all that, and you know, throw shapes. You know.
Yeah.
Tony,
One of
Exactly.
my favorite players does that.
Who's that?
Mr. Bungles is deep into 70s and 80s
The
rock.
guy
I
that
think
had
he's off.
curly hair, now he shaved it all.
I'll have some what Bungles on tonight. I think he's off his trolley tonight, but I have some of it. It looks good. But Joe Willock's been scoring goals. He's been showing what scoring goals is like. And again, because at Newcastle he's getting a freer role, he's playing a more attacking role, more forward on the pitch, which I always said Arteta keep using him in a deep lying role, which he didn't suit. He's an attacking player; he should be further up the field, more like a Smith Rowe. And and again, Arteta wasn't using him correctly. And you see at Newcastle when he's given more free reign and handbrake off, as we say, he's scoring goals. And I would love to see Joe Willock given a chance next season. I want to see Guendouzi given a chance next season. And I want to see Willock given a chance next season. I think those two guys can actually help us.
Yeah,
I'll manager to give him a chance.
I'll definitely bite on Joe Willock. He needs to be given a chance. He's a player who's honing that craft of getting into the box at the end of moves, being that last person getting into the box and getting on the end of things. Because very often that's where the chances do pop up in that third runner from midfield. Guendouzi, do you think, Sam, you obviously think he's going to shape up now, now that he's a father, and congratulations to Mateo?
Yes, I'm hoping that, because this is what we see happen with a lot of people, both within sports and outside of sports, in life in general.
In life.
I've had a couple of friends who have been really, party animals, and as soon as they get a kid, that's it. Everything all just settles down, they mature, life gets a whole new... life gets a whole new perspective and priority, right? So yeah, I'm hoping with Guendouzi now that he has a little sprog that he's gonna settle down now and hopefully calm down. But I have a couple of people who I know who watch Bundesliga very closely. They're really avid Bundesliga fans, and I asked them about Guendouzi, and they say he's had a really good season for Hertha Berlin. He's been a real good, integral part of their midfield. And he is a very good box-to-box player, and we saw that with Emery. Emery played him too much, unfortunately. So he got overused a bit, and he lost a bit of his mojo, so to speak, because he was used too much. These younger players, you got to rest him a bit as well. But he was played far too much. But I think Guendouzi. I would actually love to see Guendouzi given a chance in midfield for us as a box-to-box player, because I think the way he could take that ball and drive with the ball. Again, he can break ranks and drive with the ball, which not many of our players can do. I would love to see him given a chance. That's just my opinion.
Yeah. Tony, Joe Willock and Guendouzi.
I like both players. I would have loaned out or sold Nelson this summer and gave Wilk more of a chance. Emery gave both Guendouzi and Wilk chances last year. Like Sam said, he might have overplayed them, but they're both very bright players. They need more time. I think Wilk needs just a little bit more beat on his bones to be more ready for the Premier League, but he's showing he really doesn't need it right now away from us. Hopefully both players come back into the squad, but I don't see it happening with Arteta being there.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah, Guendouzi, I see less and less chance of him coming back with Arteta being there. Willock does have a chance of coming back. Sam, it really is an issue of whether Newcastle are going to tempt us with 20 million.
If they offer us 30 or 35 million, I'll take it. Willock is I wouldn't say he's that important that we have to keep him that way. If they're offering us 30 million, listen, he's been a very good player for them. He's saved a few of their games this season. I think he could be worth 30 million to Newcastle because he's been an important player for them. He's young, he's talented, still developing. So I think 30 million is a decent price, based on his performances. So yeah, they offer us 30 million. Great, I'll take it. We can use that on someone else. And I think you're right. I think Guendouzi probably won't be given another chance. He'll probably be sold off to France or maybe Germany. And I think Arteta has, and I do have a plan of bringing in a big name midfielder in midfield together with Partey. I have a feeling about that.
Yeah, and we will have plenty of summer to speculate about that. As Stephen said here, many has Joe Willock got 5 goals in 10 games, 5 in his last 5. He's really started to hit his stride with Newcastle. Steve Bruce has probably done him well, bringing him on in the last 20, 25 minutes of games, Sam, as teams have started to tire, and he scored big goals against Liverpool up at Anfield. He's done that before for us in the 5-5 game. The Spuds at Newcastle, and he scored, I think, against Everton, was it? Or Aston Villa?
I think it was. Yeah, he had some key goals. He's come on and done really well.
Really good one. Most recent one against Leicester City, where he nicked Soyuncu's pocket and took it in.
He's had a great season as an impact player for Newcastle. I mean, this half of the season, and I think I think Newcastle want him. I think he likes playing for Newcastle. It certainly looks like that with all the video clips he keeps doing after each game. So if they offer us some decent money, let's take it.
Where's your line there, Sam? Is I'm going to draw it at 25 million. Where would you draw it?
Yeah, I don't think we should accept anything less than 25 million, to be honest, because he is still young. He still has a lot of potential, and he's had a great performance for them this season. He's saved their bacon on several occasions, so he's shown he's more than capable of being a good part of their team. I'll probably say even maybe a key player in the current Newcastle team.
A lot of points for them.
He could be a key player for them, and the key players cost a bit of money, right? They definitely cost more than 20 million.
Yeah, Tony, you can't put a premium really on midfielders who score goals for you, and Joe Willock will pop up and score maybe 10 goals for you in a season if he's at the right club in the right system.
Yeah, it's we've been way too reliant on our forwards. The last 3-4 seasons, we used to get goals from the midfield.
Yeah.
I think if you put somebody like Willock in there, Odegaard, Smith Rowe, you can get 30 goals from the 3 of them.
Yeah,
that's true.
Okay.
True.
Okay, so that's Willock and Guendouzi. Let's go down the road of Loan Watch because this is one of the segments. So, Saliba, Sam, William Saliba.
Wow, Saliba, eh? What a mystery this guy is. I mean, for us, I just don't know what the hell Arsenal have been doing with him. I really don't. I can't.
And yet,
Yeah.
Yet it all could work out pretty well next
I hope
season.
so.
Maybe.
I hope so. I must be honest. I saw a couple of halves of Nice this season with him playing, and I must say he didn't look great. He didn't look great, and that's what some other people who follow the French league a lot closer than I do have been saying as well. Saying he's decent. He's a decent player at the moment, but not really solid. He's still developing. I'm actually starting to think his reputation must really, really be a lot more than what he is as a player, because how we've paid 27 or was it 28 million for him, and he's just a prospect really. I don't get it. I really don't get it. And because I have a strong feeling that if he was good enough, he would be in our squad now. He would be in our first team squad. I really believe that, because I don't think he's done enough to like he hasn't done like what Guendouzi's done, and to really piss Arteta off. I mean, yes, he's done a couple of immature things, but I don't think that would have been enough to banish him, as a punishment, to be loaned out as punishment. No, I think he was loaned out to gain experience and play, because I think Arteta and his coaching team have actually had a good look at him play. He's played some games for us under 23 level, a couple of friendly games as well. And I think they've seen him and evaluated him and say, okay, he's not ready. He just isn't ready. So let's send him out on loan and at a decent level, which is Nice, and let's see how he goes. And he'll probably come back into our squad now next season. I'd like to see him in our squad. I'd like to see him given a chance. But like I said, I honestly think it's a matter of him not actually being at the level we think he is or should be. I really think that is the issue.
And so you don't think he's better than Rob Holding, or could potentially?
I really potentially, yes, he has a lot of potential. He's fast, he's powerful. He's got a lot of potential there. He tackles well as well. I mean, he'll have some games where he plays really well, and he'll have some games where he doesn't. And but better than Rob Holding at the moment, he's evaluated as not being better than Rob Holding. Rob Holding's been getting a lot of games. I don't necessarily agree with that, but that's what Arteta thinks. But
captaincy as well. But
yeah, so obviously they felt he hasn't been strong enough to be part of this squad this season. But I think he'll come in now for next season, and he'll be a part of the squad now next season. I really hope so. Anyway,
I hope so too, and hopefully, Rob Holding has set a standard. I don't know if it's a great standard. David Luiz has set a standard. Surely we can surpass that standard, Tony. That Holding, who's been made captain on more than one occasion, and David Luiz, who is probably a better defender than Rob Holding as well. And I've liked Rob Holding down through the years, but I think it's probably time for him to move on as well. As Stephen said, I don't get it. Guendouzi is rubbish. I don't rate him. He was like a headless chicken running about. Let's players run past him. I agree with this. Not for me. Cash him in. I prefer I always have, sell them both. Hey, that's the great thing about a podcast. We're not all going to agree. And Tony obviously likes Guendouzi.
I'm not to disagree with my hetero life mate Steve there.
I've seen enough of Guendouzi. Sam, if he comes back next season and he's a doting father and he's completely settled down and he's a better player, I'll be the first to hold my hand up.
I can see what Stephen's saying, but at the same time, I don't think Stephen's seen the good parts in him, the good performances. When he first got to play under Emery 2 seasons ago, I think he was really solid. He looked really, really promising. He was voted amongst the last 20 Golden Boys for the FIFA Golden Boy Award, which is given to the best player in Europe who is under the age of 23, I believe. You have to be under 23. He was one of the final 20 for that. That was 2 seasons ago. That's a good accolade. That is actually a good accolade. That shows you what kind of level he is at. But yeah, then Arteta, I think, overused him a bit, and yeah, he did have some performances that were below par. But that's going to happen with a young player. That's what we keep saying. This is what we've seen from other younger players as well. They will have some good games and they will have some poor games, because when you're young and developing, you're not going to be 100% consistent. That is what you gain with experience and your age, and after having a couple of hundred games under your belt.
Mm-hmm.
So Guendouzi was going to have some bad games, and unfortunately for Guendouzi, his attitude was a big problem as well, which I completely agree with. He had a poor attitude, and I can understand why he was let's say banished by Arteta.
Let me Can I just note that you've agreed with Arteta's approach in 2 loanies right now. You've agreed.
Yeah, but this is the thing. I mean, if you want me to start going in Arteta again, I can. The thing is, he's handled those. I've understood he's handled those situations correctly. But then he didn't do the same for Ceballos. He didn't do the same for Xhaka. That's the thing. So there hasn't been any consistency in his man management, has there? That's the thing with Arteta.
You're right. You're right. I just wanted to point that out to you in case you hadn't.
Well, because they were correct decisions, but then he hasn't done the correct decision with other players. That's the thing.
Yeah, Stephen, completely agree with you, Sam. Here, Stephen said Willock would be a hero up at the Geordie land right now. He would be a hero if the crowds are in. Tony.
No, I forgot what the fuck I was gonna say.
I gotta go to you right away when you put your hand up. Then, right? Did you want to go to the bathroom?
No.
Do you want a hall pass?
No. My fatness totally ran past me.
All right, we were talking about
Saliba.
We're talking about Guendouzi. We're talking about Saliba.
I know what I was gonna say now.
Yeah, we're gonna find out about Saliba, and maybe we have to go out and get a right central defender as well. It'll come back to you, Tony.
Hey, came back. I'm ready.
All right. He said he's ready. He's ready.
You weren't listening. I said I was ready.
Yes, you can go to the bathroom.
Zaka and Willian and everybody else can fuck up on the pitch and get no punishment at all, but for something that happened in training, altercation in Abu Dhabi or wherever the fuck we were at the time with Guendouzi, he gets punished for that. Maitland-Niles has an excuse for missing or being late to a meeting. He gets punished. Our captain misses plenty of training, late to games, and still makes the team sheet for the game. Starts off the bench. It's just really inconsistent.
And let me say one thing as well.
Young players and not punish the older players for their mistakes.
Well, let me say one thing as well. Under Unai Emery, Guendouzi was the favorite player. He did get a lot of favoritism. He played almost every game in midfield. Go ahead.
There was a reason he was valued at 40 million at one point.
Yep.
He showed it on the pitch.
Yep, and one of the 20 was chosen as one of the last 20 Golden Boys 2 seasons ago. Like I said, which you don't. That's not you shouldn't look at that lightly. There's big names in those 20.
Yeah, he just needs a manager that can put an arm around him and let him kind of be himself without being a dick about it.
And it was Sven Mislintat who saw him and scouted him and then brought him in. And Sven Mislintat said, since being at Arsenal as well, we was talking about his time at Arsenal, the players he brought in, and he said about Guendouzi, he said his potential is sky high if he gets the right development and, like you say, the right coaching and he's in the right team. His potential is sky high. He can be a midfielder that he can be a really influential midfielder.
Do you think he's increased his value at Hertha Berlin now, Sam?
Not much. It's been difficult because of the COVID and everything, and at Hertha Berlin, he's been good, but he hasn't been spectacular. He hasn't really scored any goals, but he's been a solid player. They say he's had a very very decent, good season for Hertha Berlin, but he's not. I don't think there's a lot of teams banging our door down to come and buy him.
Oh.
Like Tony said 2 seasons ago when he was playing really well come in under Emery and played really well. He was actually valued highly then, and I think some of the big teams were looking at him then, but maybe not so much now.
And for a player who we bought around 8 million, it would have been a nice turn of profit here. Look at what's happening here. Yeah, I saw the footy. This is band night in the comment section. This is what Arsenal has done to our fan base. They don't want to talk football, Sam and Tony.
No, I mean, we're talking football and they're talking about music and magic mushrooms, and
that's all good.
That's just great. They can talk about what they want. That's their prerogative, isn't it? They can do exactly what they want.
And if anyone wants to fire in some football questions if you want any of them. Tony, let's move on. Ainsley Maitland-Niles, you see a future with Mainsley at Arsenal?
Not at Arsenal, not with Arteta. Like I said, for me, he was the most influential player in our FA Cup run. Arteta's first 7 games, he was the brightest players. Then he was late to a team meeting, and he got exiled. Didn't see him for about 2 months. Came back in for FA Cup. Did great on the wings. Since we can't do shit up the middle, he did great on the wings. Instrumental for our FA Cup. We got an offer for him, 25 million in the summer. Arteta said no. And Arteta refused to pretty much play him this season. Then he got sent out on loan in the winter. Makes no sense to me. Goes back to his Lego binary or whatever the hell he's taking.
Lego binary, yeah. No, Tony's right. I agree with him completely. I mean, what he did to Maitland-Niles is again one of these Lego binary things we can't understand. He looked good as a versatility player. He was coming in, doing different roles, different bits and bobs. And I know he wasn't really happy with that because he really wanted to be in central midfield. That's where he feels his strengths lie, and that's where he wanted to play. But Arteta wanted to keep him. Arteta didn't let him go. Like Tony said, we had an offer for him, and Arteta said no. We wanted to keep him as a squad player. And then all of a sudden, he loans him out. I think maybe Maitland-Niles has a lot to do with that. I think when Maitland-Niles realised he wasn't going to be playing that much, he was going to be on the bench a lot of the time. I think he sort of probably said, "Listen, I want to play." He came and knocked on Arteta's door, probably in his office at the Colney, and he probably said, "Listen, I want to play, so let's loan me out," and that's probably what happened, I think.
Yeah, do you think he's a player that maybe didn't know what he wanted to do, Sam? He was very conflicted about.
Well, I think
he wanted to play in midfield, and
I think he maybe envisioned playing more than what he did. I mean, when he started to get a few games, like Tony said, he was getting a few games here and there, different roles, and doing quite well as well. Okay, yeah, he had a couple of poor performances as well. We had some good performances as well. He was looking like he could be a very good versatility player for us, use him in different roles. I think he envisioned playing more, getting more playing time than in the start of the season. Then what happened? The first half of the season, he hardly played at all. He was a lot of the time he wasn't even on the bench, and so I think that has not necessarily upset him. I think that's a strong word to use, but I don't think he's been satisfied with the situation. And like I said, he's probably gone and knocked on Arteta's office door at the Colney and said, I'm not on the bench. You're not playing me. You didn't sell me in the summer. I want to play. I want to play football. So I don't think West Brom was the right choice for him. I think he should have gone to another team that plays maybe a bit more attacking football. Yeah. Keeps the ball a bit more on the ground, and Sam Allardyce, whack the ball long and hope for the best football. So yeah, I think Maitland-Niles should have chosen a better club for him, and he hasn't been fantastic. He's been decent, hasn't he, for West Brom, but not fantastic. No. So I don't think Arteta is thinking, "Oh, we have to keep this guy in our squad." I think we're going to sell him. Reece Nelson has to be sold as well, together with him, I think, because Reece Nelson, God knows what he's doing in our squad.
It just goes to show a lack of planning. In a lot of cases, we're going through here the loans here. It shows a lot of lack of planning for me that the club has gone through. Whether that's the player or whether it's the club. There's not a unified, or it doesn't seem to be a plan for each player in place. As Stephen said here, what a waste, Ainsley Maitland-Niles. Arteta should have sold him when his value was high, as Tony said. Instead, keeps him, doesn't play him, then loans him out. What the fuck? Another fuck up by the Lego head.
Lego head, yeah.
Tony, we're seeing a lot of money going out the window here, not only with Ainsley Maitland-Niles, but talking about Guendouzi. We're talking about not really pushing the button when we need to. And we've got another situation with Lacazette coming up. I know you're in favor of probably giving Lacazette that extra year on his contract so we can keep him for another 12 months.
Yeah, I'd keep him just based on what Smith Rowe and other young players look up to him, what they've said about him. Like I said to you way before the season started.
Like I said to me.
I thought he'd get the most goals out of any of our players this season, and he's done it.
Yeah, he's done it. I don't think any other player is going to surpass him now with 2 games to go. So, what do we do with Ainsley Maitland-Niles? We got to maybe see if we can get a sale for him. I don't think there's a future for him coming back.
No, I'll sell it for whatever we can get.
15 maybe? 10, 15?
10, 15, about that level, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of sad since we could have got 20 for him in the summer, and now his value's dropped.
His value has dropped.
Moving on to the Uruguayan from Madrid.
The Mexican wrestler.
Yeah. I know it's been a pretty sad situation for him recently, and he wants to go back to Argentina now, Sam.
I don't blame him. I don't think he's had a good time at Atletico Madrid.
Or Uruguay. He wants to go play for Boca, Uruguay. Right?
Yeah, I think he wants to go play. He wants to go and play in South America anyway. Yeah. I think he hasn't had a great time at Atletico Madrid. I don't think the Premier League suits him. I mean, he's 4'2" and he weighs about 10 pounds. I mean, how he's going to be good in the Premier League, God knows who thought that. I don't know. First time I saw him, I know he had a decent World Cup and everything, but I mean, players do have a very good World Cup, and all of a sudden, when they end up in a decent team, they just completely, disappear. And I was so surprised at how small he actually was when I actually, saw him at Arsenal, in the Premier League against these big guys in midfield, and he was so little. He was just flicked all over the place like some little fly. So he just wasn't up for it for the Premier League. He really wasn't. So yeah, we've got to get rid of him. There's no way he's going to stay at Arsenal. No way.
I think a player who really did care about the club. He shed tears for the club when we got our pants pulled down in the Europa League final against Chelsea. But yeah, he had a good couple of months leading up to the December of his first season. I thought he was playing really, really well to the point of even City was going to come and get him. I was afraid that was going to happen. But Emery kind of destroyed him, Tony.
Yeah, as I say, mentioning him crying, pretty much what broke me on him was him crying over Zaka flipping everybody off and telling the fans to fuck off. After that, he really just doesn't have that South American attitude like we had from Sanchez. To me, Emery burned him out. He's always on a yellow, orange, because he's always ready for an injury. He hated the weather in London. He had a really short summer since he came from World Cup down there. Flew back to South America again. He was going back and forth. His body was just worn out. His mind was worn out. He didn't like England, never adapted to it. He wanted to go back to Italy. Now he wants to go back to South America, and we'll probably get £15 million for him and say goodbye.
Yep. Adios, amigo.
Sam, do you rate Reece Nelson?
No, I don't rate Reece Nelson. I agree that we should have given him a chance maybe to see what he can do instead of Willian. I agree. Stan made that point in the chat, and I agree with that completely. Yeah. I'd rather have seen Reece Nelson this season than Willian for what he's done. But I just don't think Reece Nelson has cut it for me, just like with Eddie Nketiah. Just hasn't cut it. Hasn't really done what they're supposed to do. For me, Reece Nelson is one of these players who's very frustrating, as he'll do a lot of good things, he'll look good, but when it comes to that final ball, that final pass, or the shot or whatever, it's always the wrong decision, or it's always wide or over, or he's just the cross is completely wrong or the pass is wrong. He lacks that final touch, that final ball. That's his problem, and he hasn't developed that so far. Maybe he could have if he'd have played some games this season. I don't know, but I definitely don't have anything against getting rid of him. I don't think we get much for him, but yeah, he's definitely got to be one of the players that we let go.
He doesn't seem to play the Arsenal way. I've seen him. He puts a lot of balls into the box, and I think that's good for a lot of teams. You keep feeding balls into the box, the forwards should tune in to what the wide player is trying to do. But, yeah, he's never had a consistent running team, and I don't think he's going to get that opportunity. Hopefully he's another player that maybe we can get, 10, maybe 10 or 12 for probably be even less than that, probably be 8 to 10.
It won't be much because he hasn't featured at all, really, has he?
No. As Stan said here, David Luiz is turning down offers from the MLS because his wage is too high. That's on us for overpaying. We do never learn. You're right about that, Stan. And most recently with Willian and paying him a boatload of money as well. I think that's the situation where we have to stop now. And I would not even be against having Lacazette leave and getting someone else in to take over, to take that place.
No, I think we need to look at a younger striker who can come in, who's got a lot more energy, a lot more pace, is a good striker who can finish. We have to look at a top level striker, to be honest, who can come in and do the job. I don't think Laka and Aubameyang are up for it anymore, to be honest. I agree, Lacazette's had a decent season. He's played well with Smith Rowe and Saka. He's held the ball up well. He's combined well with midfield. But there's been many games where he's gone missing. Because he has to come down in midfield and he's never in the box. He's had games where he's just completely gone missing, and it's just not. He's not at that level that we need to have up front. To be honest, we need that real goal machine up front is what we're lacking now, and that's what we need. We really do. I don't know who that's going to be, and whether Arteta and Edu are actually going to go for that, but we need it.
There's a lot of forwards out there we could go for. There's Tony.
They cost money. The good ones cost money. That's what happens. You want a good player. Unless you get really, really lucky in recruitment, really, really lucky, it doesn't happen often. When it comes to a striker, it doesn't happen often. You buy someone cheap who's like you don't really know much about, who comes in and just completely, blows everyone's minds as amazing. It doesn't happen very often. Normally with a striker, you've got to pay your money, your dues, basically. You pay what they're worth, quality. The general rule in life is quality costs money, right? And that is the fact of life with a striker.
I'd still go for Edouard for 15 to 20 million. I think he's worth it.
He might be able to.
Nelson
he might be able to do it. Yeah, he might be able to do it.
Patson Daka from RB Salzburg, and then there's also Tony from Brentford in the Championship. Ollie Watkins has come up and done really, really well for Aston Villa, so there's no reason why that could not happen. A lot of people call him a tap-in or a penalty merchant. We don't get as many penalties as United do.
That's true.
As Stan said here, Sam turning down cash from Mkhitaryan. We could go through all of our players in the last 5 years and look at all the money that's just gone, evaporated out the door. We've never got any money for all those players ever since Ramsey left. Reece Nelson should have taken a loan move, but for me, that shows the attitude. Rather stay at Arsenal where it's cushy, no first team games, so play under 23 level, get rid of him. And we need to bin. Yeah, he's not wrong. We need to bin a lot of those. Brownie's in the house. Hi, Brownie.
Brownie.
The money it's going to cost for a striker to replace Lacazette, and you not getting no guarantees. We should just give Lacazette another year on his deal. But listen, Steve, we would probably get 20 million for Lacazette, right?
I wouldn't mind keeping Lacazette for another season because, I agree with Tony. He's done a good job for us, and he does play well with Smith Rowe and Saka. But this is the big but for me. He is not a 20-goal plus striker that we need. We need a striker who's going to score 20 or more goals.
He could have scored 20 if Lego man didn't bench him. He's at 13.
He's at 17 right now. 17 total games.
No, I'm talking in the league.
Goals.
I'm talking in the league, not not in all
I'm saying
all
he has
games. I'm talking
13 in the league. He started off with 3 and 3 goals.
Listen.
He could have got 20 goals this season. It's not a stretch.
He's not at that level.
Goal.
He's not at that level.
Yeah, he never has been. On only one, I think 1 or 2 seasons at Lyon where he scored a lot of penalties as well. Next one up, Mavropanos, Sam.
Bye-bye.
Right, this is an interesting one because at Arsenal, he wasn't very good. He was brought in by Sven Mislintat as a big prospect. Apparently, he was a very, very big talent when he was 14, 15, 16. And now, slightly older, when he was at Arsenal, he wasn't good. I remember we gave him a couple of friendlies. He was absolutely atrocious. And apparently he also had some mental health issues as well. Apparently, it was what I was reading about him. He was, he needed some therapy as well or whatever. But anyway, we ended up loaning him out to Stuttgart. And apparently at Stuttgart, he's done quite well. The people I've been talking about who follow the Bundesliga closely, because I don't really have a chance to do that. I've been talking to them and they say he's played quite well for Stuttgart. Like, hasn't exactly, stood out as an amazing player, but he's done a good job. He could probably, they're saying in what they're saying, again, I'm just going on what people have been saying, that he could probably come in and be a squad player for us in defence at best. I don't think he's a starting defender, but he could maybe come in and do a job if there's an injury or a suspension or whatever. But at the same time, that being said, I wouldn't mind seeing him go. I think we could sell him. I think Stuttgart might want to buy him, or another German team or another European team. And I think we should cash in on him because he's not going to be, when we've got Saliba hopefully coming back into the squad, it's not going to give Mavropanos those chances, So I think we should just cash in on him.
Yeah, and I think Sven Mislintat actually is pretty sweet on him as well, right?
Yeah, like I said, it was him who scouted him and liked him. Like I said, he was actually rated as one of the top young European prospects when he was like 15, 16. But we're getting a bit older now, 18, 19, 20. He's not quite at that level that he was when he was younger. But yeah, I mean, still decent. But we can do better, and I think we need to cash in on him. Yeah.
Not cash on him.
No, not throw cash on him. We do that too much with youngers. Yeah, down a strip club. Go on, William. Show us your tits.
Or maybe that's how they throw money at these players to get rid of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Listen, a couple of other players, McGuinness, and I know there's a Northern Ireland international. His name escapes me right now. What do we do with these players?
Because he's from Northern Ireland, is that your problem with him?
No. But anyway, listen, let's move on to the next section. And I'm going to duck out for a second, but I'll let you guys start in on this one. I'll be right back. And
I didn't have my say on Mavropanos.
Ray's going to go for a little sneaky one, isn't it, Ray?
No. Let's have your say on Mavropanos, Tony.
My say on him is whatever Greek for goodbye. Bye-bye. It's never been good enough. We were to sell him until Koscielny kind of put us in a tit and a ringer, whatever you want to say. We're going to get rid of him then. I'm surprised he's still with us. He needs to go this summer. He's not good enough. Never will be.
Right. That concludes the Loan Watch section, and we will see what happens. We'll watch with much interest. Next section, Sam, I'll start you off with throw out a couple of names. I'll start you off with Eddie Nketiah. So I think Stan coined this phrase "shitbag 6," and I'm stealing it from you, Stan. We got rid of about 5 or 6 players. We basically paid them off in January, Sam. We're actually going to have to get some cash for some players now in the summertime. And we're going to get better players in, hopefully. But who do you want to get out of the club? And who would be your 6 candidates? And I'll be right back.
Yeah, so, okay. 6 candidates just off the top of my head. Yeah, I mean, Nketiah, definitely. Xhaka, never rated him. I think Xhaka we can sell, get some money for him. Trying to think now. Actually, yeah, of course, Willian. Yes, of course, get him out, sell him. I don't know who the hell's going to be able to pay his money. That's the thing. We're going to end up doing the same with him, aren't we? Paying most of his wages. Absolute shambles. Trying to think now. Pepe, I wouldn't mind selling Pepe. Get rid of him. Get some money for him. Just don't think he's at the level he should be.
We still have some Reece on our books.
Reece Nelson is never going to make it now. Just get rid of him. Let's have a look. I'm just thinking about in defence. Cedric, probably get rid of Cedric now because obviously he's not. Arteta doesn't rate him at all, right? He's playing Bellerin and Chambers instead of him. So yeah, get rid of Cedric. Who else? I think we were up. Well, that was nearly 6 players, wasn't it? Leno wants to go. Get rid of Leno. But the thing is, if we get rid of Leno, yeah, Matt Ryan, we can sign him on a contract to deal. We can get him at a good price. Matt Ryan is a good goalkeeper. We could probably use him. I would still rather maybe, if we could, go for a world-class keeper. But I think we're going to struggle getting a world-class keeper without Champions League football. Yep. So I think we're going to just have to go for Matt Ryan. But that's not bad. I think Matt Ryan's a good goalkeeper. I think he can do a job for us. Get rid of Runarsson. Send him back to the sand pit, the sandbox, wherever he came from in Iceland. Bloody hell. I mean, he can't even get on the bench in the Europa League. You know, we've got a second goalkeeper on the bench. We played 18. We put an 18-year-old on there instead of him. Just get rid of him. And, yeah, I think basically they're the players who need to go. The rest, I think we can. It's more questionable, more debatable. But, I mean, there's more players who can go as well, of course.
So, who have you got, Sam? Nketiah?
Well, basically, got Nketiah, Nelson, Willian, Pepe, Xhaka, and Cedric.
Pepe?
Yeah, get rid of him.
Hector Bellerin?
Oh, yeah, of course, Bellerin. But you see, Bellerin's already gone in my head, you see. That's why I'm not really counting him. He's already gone in my head. I'm so sure he's going. I'm not counting him. Okay, so let's go for Nketiah, Nelson, Bellerin, Cedric, Willian, and then Pepe. That's 6. Who am I missing out? Xhaka. 7 with Xhaka. I'd like to see Xhaka gone as well.
I agree with Urban Ghost here. Keep Pepe. Definitely keep Pepe. There's too much talent still there.
Come on. If I want to watch someone run around a lamppost, I can just go and pay a bum down the street.
You know who else you've forgotten about, Sam? Sead Kolasinac.
He's already gone.
He's still an Arsenal player. He's on loan.
Yeah, but I know we're paying him like we have to pay the other wages while they're on loan because they're on too high wages, right? But he's gone as soon as his contract's finished. His contract's finished in June. Gone. Bye-bye.
Okay, well, Stan's got Willian, David Luiz, Granit Xhaka. This is more than 6. Nketiah, Lacazette, Bellerin, Aubameyang, Kolasinac, Cedric, all in the bin. And I think it's a lot easier. We could probably count 6 players we want to keep, as we said earlier, as well.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, it is up for debate. So many other players who, like I said, I wouldn't shed a tear if they go. I wouldn't shed a tear if Lacazette went. I wouldn't shed a tear if Aubameyang went. I wouldn't shed a tear if Luiz went. That's the way it is at the moment. I'm afraid these players they're not at that top level, are they?
No. Tony, do you have 6 to put forth?
Nelson, Nketiah, Xhaka, Willian, Kolasinac, which he's, like Sam said, he's leaving. Then you go with, I don't know if I'd sell Cedric or not since Bellerin's leaving. We'll have to have somebody for backup there.
Chambers. Got Chambers.
Of course, Chambers. Chambers would be my starting right back. I'd probably get rid of Aubameyang. I think he's done. Let's see who else. Xhaka.
Xhaka, yeah, definitely. Oh, God, I can't wait till he goes.
Well, look, I think that was fun to jump into. There's a group of players that are dog shit that need sending on, but we got to get some cash for them. Tony, next section is Europe worth chasing? We can win out. If we can win out, we'll get 61 points, which 60 points for me was always my cutoff point.
Raise low bar.
My low
Here
bar.
we go.
My low bar. But listen, that's for another time, right, Sam?
Fucking hell.
For another conversation.
60 points, bloody hell.
Stan would also add in Leno for his recent comments. So that's 11, a whole team. Stan could actually field a team of 11 he wants to leave. No, Tony, I believe it is worth chasing for Europe here, and it's possible if we win out. Now, it's not going to be easy. We got to play away to Palace next Wednesday, and then we finish Sunday. I think it's 9 days from now, 10 days from now, at home to Brighton. Two teams that are always giving us trouble, but there is a possibility to jump. Who are we going to jump? Everton, maybe, and Tottenham.
Theoretically, it's possible. Everton have a game in hand now, and so did Tottenham. But because Everton drew. Was it yesterday? They drew 0-0.
They drew today 0-0.
Today, 0-0. So
yesterday, technically yesterday for you.
Yes, yesterday for me. You see, that's why. Yes, it's yesterday for me. But yeah. So they drew 0-0. They've shit the bed lately. Everton. Their form has dropped off a lot, hasn't it? The last few months. Yeah. So they're not really, pulling their weight, are they? Considering the squad they've got. Well, at least the first 11. I think they're struggling a bit with squad depth with some injuries and that. So probably not great that way. But yeah, I mean, Everton we can definitely beat, and that shite lot down the street. If the results go our way, we can jump ahead of them as well. We can actually sneak into that 7th spot and go to Siberia and Cyprus and God knows where the fuck else next season. But anyway, it's Europe, isn't it?
Yeah, look, at Urban Ghost, we will probably double back around. Make a note, Tony, we'll double back on the goalie situation. It does divide the fans here. Tony, listen, it's not ideal to get into Europe. It's going to be a 3rd-tier competition, the Europa Conference League. But I think the benefit of it will be we will be able to maintain a pretty big squad and not Arteta. I don't trust Arteta to not cull some of the decent young players that we do have at the club. There, I said it. I don't trust Arteta because he would probably keep some of his favorites who are experienced but not as good as the young players. And
William striker.
William could be striker. Granit Xhaka would definitely be striker. Saka would play in goals. It'd probably be better than Runnerson.
Cedric could be a false 9.
I don't trust, if we're not going to be in Europe, I don't trust Arteta in how he's going to trim down our squad. Sam, how many players do you think we would have to trim the squad by if we were not in Europe?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, the revenue is going to decrease so much already because if the season ticket prices have already gone down a lot, haven't they? Now for next season, so that's going to hurt revenue as well. We're not in Europe. I know there's not that much money in the Conference League, but at least there is some money from it. And like I said in the group chat, for me, there's an importance and a statement of being in Europe. If you're in Europe, you're still a decent team. You're still a big team because you're competing against the other best teams in Europe. So for me, a big team should always be in Europe. If you're not in Europe, you're not a big team. That is my opinion. So it's about competition. That's what it's about. You've got to compete with the best. Okay, it's the 3rd level best for Europe, but you know what I'm saying. You're still in Europe competing against so-called better teams. So, it's important to keep that level, that standard. Because once you drop out, like what most likely will happen this season, that can all of a sudden, if we don't really go out this summer and make a statement and do the right things, all of a sudden that can just become the norm, right? I mean, that can be, we can slide down to 9th, 10th. That can be our new standard, right? And so you got to be very careful, that slippery slope of accepting mediocrity. I don't like it. I really don't like it. There's no excuse for it as Arsenal Football Club. We're too big a club. There's too much money involved in our club. We have too much stature behind us to accept this mediocrity like this. It's not good enough. It really isn't. We need to be in Europe. I can't accept the whole it'll be good for us to not be in Europe argument. I don't accept that.
Yeah, listen, it's not an issue of Stephen's saying, the players will still come. It's about money these days, and I think that's a fair point, Stephen. And Urban Ghost is saying a season with no European fixtures would help us right now. But also, if we have no European fixtures, we're going to have to cut our squad a little bit. We're going to have to cut our cloth accordingly. And I'm fearful we could lose an Aziz, or there's no room for a Balogun if Lacazette's going to stay. Tony, what do you think?
I think our fans are delusional that want us out of Europe, especially with fans being back in the stand, even though it's a bit lower competition, still money, still revenue. And to me, the biggest point of competition like that, it should be your youth players going out there and playing and getting their wings and learning the tools of a trade.
Yeah.
And we don't know if that's going to happen with Arteta at the helm. We don't know if we drop to that level, if we're playing in the Europa Conference League, if they'll play with young players or not.
He did play a lot of young players in the group stages this year in the Europa League. So there's nothing to suggest that he would not do the same thing. Played a lot of the young players if we do happen to make that holy grail of the Europa Conference League. I mean, it's not an ideal. It's not great.
Who the hell came up with Conference League? I mean, the conference in England is a shit league, right? It's a shit competition.
Just call it Europa 2.
I mean, why? Who the hell came up with the Conference League? I mean, fucking hell. They could have called it the Challenge League or something like that. Just, try and build it up and make it sound better than what it is, But I mean, call it the
League.
The Handicap League. I mean, Conference League is just such a terrible name, isn't it? It really is.
Urban Ghost, my first game was Arsenal 2, Everton 0, December of 79. Big up. That's a long time supporting the Arsenal. Tony?
Yep, it is.
I was 3 months old.
Coming from the West, I always found Palace a pain in the arse to get to, Stan. Yeah, it was the last season that Liam Brady. So listen, there's a lot of debate, Sam. We're out of Europe. We can concentrate on the league. Our squad is going to be a lot lighter than.
Well, for me, we're going to have to cut. We're going to have to cut down maybe on some of the squad. The wage bill might have to. The Cronkies might say, okay, we have to cut down a bit on the wage bill or whatever, or they might actually give us something to compete with. That's what the rumors are saying. They're actually going to give us. They're actually going to give us some money this summer to go out and get some players. They're saying that there's rumors they want to back Arteta, to appease the fans. I know we've heard that many seasons now, so I'm not going to hold my breath. But that's what the rumors are going about now anyway. So we've got the money we don't really necessarily, even though yes, it is a smart thing to do, cut down a bit on the squad, cut down a bit on the wage bill, revenues down. But at the same time, we're still big enough and have enough money to. I mean, we're on a Champions League budget as it is. We budget our operation as a Champions League club. I mean, we're budgeted to with a Champions League wage bill. We're basically expecting Champions League money to come in, basically, and it doesn't. So, I don't think that's really going to change now. The thing I was going to say about if we are outside of Europe, okay, it can do us good as in, okay, we're playing fewer games, we can concentrate then more on the league. But then for me, then if you're concentrating on the league, then you haven't got those extra games, then you bloody well better be challenging. you bloody well better be challenging for Champions League then. If you're concentrating on the league, you haven't got another competition to worry about. You know, if you're outside of the top four, then that's not good enough for me.
We are third in the form since December 26th.
Bollocks.
Oh,
Bollocks.
It's facts. That's facts.
Yeah, but it didn't start in December, did it? For fuck's sake.
It's a bit like Willian. The season does not start in May. You don't score
It didn't start in May, did it? I mean, yeah, Jesus Christ. I mean, let's be realistic here.
Willian chose the 37 game that he played, or the 37 game of the league. I'm not sure which.
I mean, we've beat. Well, if you look apart from Chelsea now, you know they're a good team. We've just beaten, even though there was like we said, there were some caveats to that.
Looking at the FA Cup final, yeah.
But I mean, apart from that, our wins are against crap teams. I mean, come on, West Brom, fucking Sheffield United. I mean, it's not great performances against great teams or good teams. You know, they're atrocious. They didn't even show up, you know, in those games. So, you know, it's a real caveat to that whole statistic since Christmas.
So we have win doubles against Chelsea. We've beaten Chelsea twice. We've beaten Newcastle twice. They're 16th.
Oh, wow.
We've beaten West Brom and Sheffield United twice. They're 19th.
Yes.
20th. So
yes.
There you go. The really bad things are, of course, the losses. 2 losses.
How much time you got, Ray? How much time you got to go through the bad records?
About as much time as the good. It's about even.
We've got the most. We've got the most home losses ever. This is the most home losses we've had ever at Arsenal. That's in the history of Arsenal Football Club. We've never lost this many home games in all competitions in one season. That's on Arteta's watch. First time out of Europe for 25 years. The lowest league position, the lowest points in 1995. When Graham basically was on his way out of the club. What else is there? Yeah, the poorest, lowest win. Arteta's got the lowest win percentage, I think, probably since Terry Neal. I think he was the last manager that we had that had the worst win percentage. Yeah, I mean, we can keep going and going and going. The records, I mean, you know, letting these teams beat, so many teams have beat us at home this season for the first time in God knows how many years.
73 years.
Brighton got a double over us. Sorry, I mean, who was it? There's a team that got a double over us. It's never happened before. I can't remember which team it was. But anyway, they got a double over us the first time ever.
Aston Villa, probably.
And, you know, it's just atrocious. This season's been atrocious. And the only way we're sort of, you know, making it look halfway palatable is by saying, oh, yeah, well, since the 26th of December, actually, it hasn't been too bad. But, I mean, when you actually look at it, we've still played terrible football. We've still, you know, not fucking showed up for most of the games. And the only teams we've really beaten have been crap teams, you know, that haven't showed up when we played them. You know, the rest we've struggled against. I
put a tweet out earlier. I think Arsenal and Arteta and Arsenal are a lot like C-3PO. When everything's connected, they're pretty decent. They can do a good job for you. But when C-3PO got blown to shit, this is Arsenal this season. Disconnected, not looking good at all.
Nothing positive there, Ray.
Nothing positive. Tony?
As I say, since 1995, Everton's only beaten us twice, and they beat us twice this season.
Yeah.
Yep. Doubles, teams have beaten us. Obviously, Liverpool and City have beaten us twice. But then we get to Everton. Atrocious game at Goodison Park. I know Brownie's. I think Brownie's in there. And, you know, it's going to be touch and go whether Arsenal finish above Everton or not.
Brownie. Squeaky bum time for Brownie. Bum time.
Our bet is going to go right down to the last game of the season.
It is going to go to the last game of the season, yeah.
Wolves have beaten us twice, as we know. Aston Villa have beaten us twice, and it's a good thing Gary's not here right now because Gary would be You could just see Gary shaking his head, right?
Yeah.
Almost lost twice to Burnley.
Gary, give us a nice.
Yeah, that's the bad stuff. listen, I think it's a moot point, Sam. I don't think we're going to make it into 7th place. I think we might get above Everton. And maybe we might get above Tottenham, but I don't think we're going to get any further.
Well,
We're
that's
not gonna
7th
be-
place then. If
Or
we
that's
get above
seventh
those
place.
two, that's 7th place. Yeah.
All right, so let's look at it. Do you think Tottenham will beat Wolves at home?
We never know with this Tottenham team, right? They've got Ryan Mason in charge. They sacked the manager who actually, okay, he was struggling with them, but at least he was a proper manager, right? I don't know. I can't say anything about Tottenham because you just never know. All of a sudden they'll win and all of a sudden they'll lose. You can never tell with that team. They've been absolutely atrocious the second half of the season. So I can see them losing. I can see them drawing. I can see them losing.
They have 2 games at home, Wolves and Villa at home, and then the last day of the season they go to Leicester. If they don't have the points in the bag from the 2 home games, I don't think they're going to beat Leicester.
I mean,
Away from home.
Leicester have actually picked up a little bit of form now, haven't they? They won their last game, didn't they? Looked a lot better all of a sudden. So they might.
You would think Manchester United lay down for them because to stop Liverpool getting into the top 4.
Listen. They changed a lot of players, right? Because they had to play so many games in a short amount of time now. It's ridiculous. I actually agree with Solskjaer, having a right go at the FA about this because playing 3 games in a week basically. I mean, it's a bit of a joke. But yeah, I mean, so they have to rest players, and when you rest players, that's it. You become a weaker side, and yeah, it was a lot to do with that, I think. But yeah, at the end of the day, Leicester won, and they're picking up points again, and they could probably beat Tottenham the last game of the season. I could probably see them doing that.
So we don't know what Arsenal's going to do. We don't know what Tottenham's going to do.
That's the thing. You never know what team what we're going to show up with. You never know what Lego Head's going to do. He might put Cedric up in front as a false 9, or he might use Xhaka as a right winger or something. This thing you never know with him, and then the players won't bother to show up, and that's it. We could shit the bed, couldn't we? So we've certainly done that enough times this season.
Tony, let's look at Everton now. They're 1 point ahead of us. They have 3 games left, so they could potentially. They probably only need 5 points from these 3 games to be ahead of us. They play Manchester City away on the last game of the season, and City could be looking at it. They will be looking at a Champions League final. They could be resting players, so that could help Everton. But the other 2 games they play at home to Sheffield United and they play at home to Wolves. Surely Everton will get the points they need.
Yeah, they should, but you never know. That's why you play all 38 games. What happens? More than likely, you'll be paying Brownie some money, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, they need 5 points from 3 games, Sam. They play City away, who could be resting a lot of players. They'll probably lose the game, right?
Still, their second string's still better than Everton, I think.
Mm-hmm. And then Sheffield United, they'll probably win that game. And
they will probably win that game, against Sheffield United.
The real big one will be Wolves. Everton versus Wolves.
That can be a draw. So they could only get 4 points out of those last 3 games.
You've heard it here from Brownie. Everton will sneak into the Europa League positions.
They're going to get 4 points out of the last 3 games.
And will Arsenal beat Crystal Palace away from home?
That's what we're going to need to do if we're going to get ahead of Everton, right? We're going to have to beat
what
them away from home.
What stadium do they play in?
What's that?
What stadium do they play in? You heard me.
Selhurst Park.
Yep.
Yeah,
Selhurst Park.
Selhurst Park. Yes.
Selhurst Park. Thanks, everyone who's loving the chat. Slap a like on the video. Let's circle back around then to the goalkeeping situation because it was specially requested by somebody.
Urban Ghost, I think.
Urban Ghost, yeah. And the Urban Ghost says here, Everton, they had 2 games in hand. They played one of them, and it was a draw with Villa. So they now have 1 game in hand, Urban Ghost. So we'll see what happens. And that draw today, it must have been a dour game. Did anyone see that game?
No, it's 0-0.
Everton Villa.
No, I didn't bother watching that.
The goalkeeping situation, Sam. Leno, what do you think?
Yeah.
What do you think about Bernd Leno?
Well, I think Leno is a good goalkeeper. I just don't think he's world class.
Mhm.
I also think it's a bit, say, out of order that we gave him our trust and we chose him over Martinez for this season.
Yep.
We gave him the number one spot.
Yep.
And he basically now, according to the reports, of course we don't know if they're true or not, but according to reports, he wants to go. He wants a new challenge. He wants to leave Arsenal. So thank you very much, Bern Leno. That's the repayment we get for showing trust in him. And Leno hasn't had a very good season, to be honest. I mean, if I'm brutally honest, yes, he's had some good saves. He's had some good games, but he's also had a lot of mediocre and poor games. And he's had some absolute howlers as well. That one against Everton, I mean, my God. I mean, you rarely see a howler like that from a professional goalkeeper. Yeah. I mean, it was only Runarsson that could actually beat him this season with that howler he had. Basically just letting
We've had some good goalkeeping.
But just basically letting a goal in between his hands like that as a goalkeeper, I mean, that's pretty good going. Runarsson gets the number one spot for that. But Leno had a shocking game as well, and against Everton. And listen, I want to say this. This is something I've been wanting to say. When it comes to Arsenal, we've always had a tradition of having a world-class goalkeeper. We've always had apart from the Almunia days, okay? We went through some of those Almunia days and Szczesny days, but, before then we had Seaman, we had the likes of Jennings,
right?
So Almunia that. But we need, the thing is, if you look at the teams that compete regularly for the top trophies, they have world-class goalkeepers, okay? So, if we want to compete, we're going to need a world-class goalkeeper. So if we let Leno go, I think Matt Ryan, we can trust him for a couple of maybe a season or two. I do think he's a good goalkeeper. He's not world-class, but he is good. He is a good Premier League level goalkeeper. I think he can slot in nicely if Leno goes, because I think when it comes to our priorities so far this summer, I don't think we should be prioritising a goalkeeper if Leno goes. I think we need to get Ryan and focus on him, and then we can worry about the goalkeeping situation maybe next season or the season after that. We need to look at other positions first before the goalkeeper. But as I said, just to round it off, I wouldn't shed a tear if Leno went. I wouldn't shed a tear. And I think Ryan can take over the number one jersey, the number one shirt quite easily and do a good job. I think he can do that.
Tony, I was very, very heartened. I think it was the Newcastle game now that Matt Ryan played in, and I thought he played really, really well. It gave the team a lot of assurance. I think a lot of the confidence in a team comes from the goalkeeping position. And if you show confidence as a goalkeeper, everything builds from there. And I thought Matt Ryan was able to build up the play. He's a lot better, I think, with the ball at his feet than Bernd Leno is. Bernd Leno is a really, really good shot stopper. But I think Matt Ryan comes and claims crosses as well into the box.
I've been saying this the whole time Leno's been here. He's a great shot stopper, but he just doesn't communicate enough. He doesn't put the troops together. Of course, this season he's got an excuse because he's never had a set center back pairing, let alone the fullbacks. When he had his howler, the left back fell down twice on him, left him exposed. He still should have stopped it, but he didn't. To me, there's a reason that he was player of the season going into his injury last year. I think there's still a great goalkeeper there. I think he needs to learn a little bit, be a little bit more humble. But I think he's got the quality there.
I just want to add on to that. I mean, Matt Ryan really impressed in that last game he played, and he was actually, we saw, the reports afterwards and all of that he actually speaks Spanish and he speaks He was speaking the different languages to these
Brazilian, Portuguese.
He was speaking different languages to the defenders.
He's speaking Spanish to Gabriel.
And giving them commands. And I mean, that impressed the hell out of me.
Yeah.
He communicates really well with the defense, and like Tony says, that is so important to communicate and to command that defensive line. And he did that really well. And I think Matt Ryan is better in the area. I think he's better at coming out and claiming crosses than what Leno is. I think Leno's more shaky, more less stable coming out, commanding his area than Ryan is.
Decision making, yeah.
Yeah. So I think Ryan's a very good goalkeeper. As I said, I don't think we'll miss Leno if Ryan comes in and takes his place. Let's put it that way.
And look, I think Leno has come out and said, listen, there's no truth to what he's been saying. So there's a lot of things up in flux right now, Sam. As you know, we're getting into the crazy time of this season.
We're coming into silly season now, aren't we? Silly season with all the transfer rumours. We're already linked to like about 20 different players. It's an absolute joke, isn't it? But I just saw Stan mention a goalkeeper I've been mentioning for a while. Donnarumma, fantastic goalkeeper, world class. Still young, he still get even better. Amazing goalkeeper. But like I said, the only way we were going to get him is if we got Champions League football this season, which we're not getting now. So I don't think we got much chance of signing Donnarumma, to be honest. I'd love to sign him, of course I would. But
Just as you're saying that, Sam, Erdegaard, do you think he's going to stay with us another season?
I think he wants to stay. I think he likes Arsenal. He likes Arteta. He likes playing with us. We haven't seen the best of him lately because he's been struggling a bit with his ankle. His ankle has still been niggling him, so he hasn't been at 100%. At the same time, the team hasn't played brilliantly either. So you don't get the best out of him when the team's not. The thing with Erdegaard, you've got to have the runs. You've got to make runs for him to pass to. And when you're not moving and you're not running into channels and doing things, it's difficult for him. He can only pass to backwards or sideways to whoever's available because no one's making any runs. So, that doesn't help the situation either. But, I think Erdegaard would like to stay. I don't think we would probably pay the money Real Madrid would ask for him. So I think what could happen is they could agree, I think, on another loan, just like we did with Ceballos. I think I can see another loan coming with Erdegaard. We could probably loan him again for another season and let them have Ceballos back. There's no way I'm letting Ceballos stay. I mean, there's no way. He's not going to anyway. We know that. We know he's going. But yeah, they can have Ceballos back and we'll keep Erdegaard.
Yeah, that's not even on the table for discussion. Okay, let's jump back in to get Tony's.
You have a say on it?
Yes, of course. Go ahead.
I think from his body language, the last few times he's been subbed off. I'm not sure if he wants to stay or not.
No, he wants to stay. I know he wants to stay.
You're tuned in with a reindeer.
Yeah, I know. You've got to remember. I know some of his friends, so I get some information sometimes from them, and I know he likes Arsenal. He likes it there, and he gets on well with Arteta and the other guys. And the thing is what people don't know because it's not being reported, but he's still not 100% with his ankle. He twisted his ankle really bad on the international duty with Norway. And he's not 100%. He's feeling it. He can play through it, but it's still niggling him. It's still bothering him. So yeah, he's not 100%.
I wanted to ask both of you before we get into the man of the matches for both of the games. Recent reports have stated that some of the players have sought assurances that Arteta would be the manager at the start of next season. What does that say to you guys, both of you?
If I can go first, I just want to say I don't understand it because what I'm seeing from the players, and I've talked about this a lot, especially the second half of the season, what I'm seeing from the players is that they're not in tune with Arteta and his tactics and his strategy, the way he wants them to play. They're not in tune with it. And it's making life difficult for them, and it's part of why they're not motivated and not giving it 100% because they are not happy with how they're playing and how things are set up. So that is completely not in tune with wanting Arteta to stay. That just doesn't make any sense. And also, you saw Aubameyang when he was substituted now against Chelsea. He really made it clear he didn't like being substituted. He really made that very clear with his body language. So I think we've got a potential issue here now again with Aubameyang, which has been brewing a lot because, that whole him showing up late and everything, or what happened there, against Spurs and everything. So, I think there's an issue there brewing as well with Aubameyang. So, I really can't see several players wanting him to stay, only maybe Xhaka. I think Xhaka loves him. I think Xhaka gives him a blowjob in the showers after every game. And, I think Xhaka wants him to stay. Luiz wants him to stay because these are the guys, his sons that get to play all the time, right? But,
what about Willian?
Willian definitely. Oh, Willian loves Arteta. He's godfather to his children. He licks his balls and does his manscaping. And so I'll tell you what, it must be those players. If there's any truth to it, it must be those, because it's not Aubameyang and it's not all the other players, because they're not in tune, absolutely not in tune with what he wants to do or what he's doing.
I believe it's the younger players. I believe it would be Emile Smith-Rowe or Saka, and congratulations to Emile Smith-Rowe. Actually, going to get him now signed up for the next 5 years.
Oh yeah.
I think that's brilliant. Tony, it would be remiss of me if I forgot about you again. So let's get your opinion on.
To me, it just shows the players just don't have a drive, a fight. They're too complacent. It just shows the complacency of the players. It shows the shit culture at the club, if it's true. I don't see it being the young players because they're the ones not really being given a chance. I see it being the sons of Arteta. I see Sam staying with Xhaka, giving him a blowjob while Willian sucking his balls at the same time. Just
it's a nice little three-way in the showers, isn't it?
Just makes no sense at all. It goes back to the Lego
binary. There you go, Lego binary.
That's brilliant. Tony's coined a great new concept there tonight. That Lego binary, I love that. That's so good.
He's going to patent that one right after the podcast. He's going to patent that one. All right, Sam, what man of the match for West Brom?
Yeah, I'm going to give you that. And before that, I just want to say in the chat, I see they're still on the music, but I see they're talking about Orb now, Little Fluffy Cloud. So you can't. I mean, you got Chemical Brothers. I mean, you can't talk. And you got Aphex Twin. You can't talk about those guys without talking about Square Pusher. Kraftwerk. You gotta look at the likes of Underworld and West Bam. And those artists like that, and Boards of Canada. We'd have Boards of Canada in there as well. Anyway,
Sam has been converted to the chat box section.
Anyway, so my man of the match was probably Saka. He did quite a good job there at left back, didn't he? Left wing back. Did quite a good job. I think he did well. As I said, I didn't really see much of the first half. But what I saw in the second half, I thought he looked good. Yeah.
Saka I would second that one as well. Really tempted to give the Willian, but can't do that. Right. Tony,
it was a good free kick. You got to hand it to him. It was a good free kick.
Yeah. Where is it? You know what? As well, Sam, that was his third shot on target all season.
It's absolutely atrocious, isn't it? This is an attacking player. Oh my God, yeah.
Takes the biscuit.
We really have talked a lot about him this season, haven't we? We really have for all the wrong reasons. Yeah.
Too much. And let me tell everyone, Mahir is checked out for a little bit. He is not on board with Arsenal anymore until they start showing better results.
Fair enough.
If you want to check out Gundam News on YouTube, he put out a video. So
big up Mahir, my brother.
He's one of those hardcore Arteta. He's Arteta out now, hardcore.
Yeah.
Who can blame him?
Tony,
Yeah.
give me your man in the match for West Brom.
I knew it. I fucking knew it.
He's in.
Fucking knew it. Just
Alonso's
burp
in the
now. Just
house.
burp. Go on, burp.
I just got home from work.
Oh, okay, he's not burping.
Your man in the match, Tony, for West Brom.
Trying to think.
Drum roll. Well, I let Alonso.
Crack on,
Alonso.
Tony.
You want to think for a bit longer? We'll let Alonso
Well,
speak.
I was rowing my boat to start with, and I kind of started thinking with you guys when Saka. I don't know.
So,
Saka.
go ahead, Tony.
Alonso, go.
Saka.
I'm waiting.
So I'm gonna go with Nene.
Yeah, we were talking about Lenny earlier. I don't know if you caught a bit of it earlier, but he's a safety valve in midfield, Alonso. He helps the team out a lot, and it goes unnoticed as well.
Yeah, I think he does something that somebody else doesn't do right, and I think there's something to say about that. Especially with our current team we have now. I think there's something in him that I really like. I think he brings a lot of character to a team that doesn't have much of it, right? So
yeah,
I think he's a likable guy as well. You want to root for a guy like that, and who has a chip on his shoulder every game. And people still talk about him, and I don't quite get why. It's a mystery to me.
Yeah, as we were saying with Tony and Sam, I think he's a player who wakes up every day and he's happy he's got a job at Arsenal. He's playing for Arsenal. He's a bit like Jenkinson, but he's got a bit more skill and ability about him. You know what I mean?
I'm still sure Carl Jenkinson won like a Make-A-Wish Foundation prize or something like that. I'm sure about it.
But Elneny is that model professional. He may not have all the tools in the box, but he goes there with the right attitude every day, Alonso.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so but we're going to give it to Saka, man in the match. What do you think for West Brom and Kieran Gibbs' crew? Or maybe our last chance to speak.
So I think man in the match for West Brom game. It's unfortunate that we didn't see Enzima Niles in that game because I think he still has something in him, and it's a shame how it didn't work out with Arsenal. Because I would like to have seen him in the midfield with Partey. I think he'd be a perfect partner for Partey, but we don't see that, right? That being said, I think I think the game had to go to Saka. I think he played well enough to make a difference. I think that he's still young. I think it kind of shows that him and Moses Rowe have a lot of good combination with them. I think the core values of this team, how young they are, is something special. And I think there's something to say about that. And
you know what?
It's good to see finally.
And you know what I was thinking? Saka really should be man of the match because he unlocked Willian for that game. He unlocked all of the skill, all of the goals and the end product from Willian. And I think as long as Saka and Willian are on the pitch together, they'll do some great things together. Willian would not have scored that free kick if it had not been for Saka helping him on the left wing all along. All right, let's go to the Chelsea game. Sam, Chelsea game's a strange one because, there's not a lot of our players looked really, really good. I like the press that we implemented from the front. Huh?
I said you skipped me.
You said Saka.
You said Saka.
Yeah. I was kind of debating between him and Smith Rowe.
Okay.
Fucking hell,
there's two of them now. Jesus Christ. He's cloning himself now.
Should we leave Frozen Alonso up there?
Yeah, leave him there.
Mercury and one's Alonso. Which one's which?
He's twins. He's twins now.
Hey, Alonso,
Yeah.
What would you want to say to past Alonso? Your future Alonso.
Better drum next time.
Alonso of Arsenal's past.
All right,
Jeez.
Tony. Tony, what have you got?
What I got on man of a match for Chelsea or man of a
Yeah,
match?
sure. That way I can't forget about you.
I was gonna do row your boat for Chelsea game.
Row, row, row your boat gently down the live stream. Merrily, 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 merrily. Life is but a dream.
That does not count as your song. You still owe me.
Kevin de Croydon. And hopefully,
Croydon De Bruyne.
the Croydon de Bruyne. Hopefully, we're saying that for a long time. So, yeah, who are you going to give it to? Let's give it to Emile Smith Rowe. That's who I'm giving it to.
Yeah, I agree. I think he was our best player on the day.
What I liked about the goal, of course, Jorginho did the most. Not Alonso, the most Xhaka thing. I don't get you mixed up with Xhaka Alonso.
I thought Jorginho.
Jorginho, meant to be a back pass to Kepa. It would have been, should have really been, if that had not been a goal, it should have been a free kick on the 6-yard line. But so glad that Aubameyang was key in this. He held on to the ball and he figured out what was going on, passed the ball to Emile Smith Rowe, and luckily it went in. Emile Smith Rowe almost missed it, but we'll take it.
It went in off the post, didn't it?
Yeah, we'll take it. You know what I mean? Usually we don't profit from those situations, Alonso. Usually other teams profit off of us.
Yeah, because we're clumsy like that, you know, and for once, I think it kind of reminded me a little bit of the Liverpool game last year that I think was it. Reece Nelson scored right off of Dan Dyke's mistake, kind of. So
Yeah,
it's always funny to see a team get caught off guard like that, and especially if it's a rival team and a team that's better than us in the table. So it's quite hysterical from a point of that they messed up and we didn't. From a point of, you know, the football gods were trying good to us this time and not the other way around, because in the past, you know, it happened so much to us because of the fact that we tend to play out the back a lot, and it's cost us a lot of games. So it's become disastrous on our part.
yeah. So listen, Emile Smith Rowe gets our man in match. We all sort of did I get around on everyone there? Did I see? Yeah, okay. Alonso, thanks for joining it right at the end. We do appreciate you jumping in as well. Alonso, you start off on your final thoughts, and I think we might. There's not going to be an Arsenal game at the weekend, so I think we might do. We might actually go at the same time as the Spurs game, which is going to be early enough in the day. I don't know. We'll figure it out. I thought that would be kind of fun to watch their demise in real time on the podcast on Sunday.
So I'm off on Sunday, so I'll be
Yes,
going.
it'll be an early one though. I think it's like going to be 8 a.m. your time.
That's fine.
All right, but yeah, we'll do a Spurs demise podcast. Hopefully, the St. Tottenham's Day will be on the final day of the season. Hopefully,
Daniel Levy doing his best to fuck up his own club as usual. Jesus Christ.
Pizza flu.
Hey,
Part 2.
Is there a way we could resurrect Mental Soccer and Kishani and play that game on Wednesday?
Yeah.
People don't realize how important that goal was, right, at Newcastle. When Laurent Kishani scored that goal.
Yes.
And it was crazy, right? I mean, it was the last day of the season, I believe.
Last day of the season. We've done quite a few of them in the last day of the season as well. They went up to Newcastle as well, Alonso, and got lost. They lost 5-1 or something as well.
That's right.
That was the year Leicester won the league. Something we don't really
No. It was they lost to Chelsea, right?
They lost to Newcastle on the final day of the
Okay.
season, 5-1, and we won
That's
to
right.
get
Yeah,
to go into second place.
that's right.
That was 2016. Final thoughts, Alonso.
My final thought. Okay, so today, yesterday was a really good win for us. Though it was one of those fancy wins, right? At the bridge, right? One to an Arsenal, right? One nil to Arsenal, and these games rarely come, right? Because of the fact that our defense record hasn't been that great either. So I'm okay with that. I'm okay with winning 1-0 to our arch rival, Chelsea, who haven't been that great either. So I think that hopefully this will give us momentum into the final two games that we should win, and we need help to get into Europe. So we'll see what happens. We just got to pay for what we're handed to us, and hopefully we could end it on a party winning streak actually. So. Yeah, I mean, this is not dead yet, so we have still got to play for,
It's
and we
almost
got for the
dead.
best, right?
Season is not dead, but it's so close to being dead.
Yeah.
As you'll see here, our target was to be 66 points, and our percentage of 66 points is 83%.
And that was still low, Ray. You set the bar low.
We're going to be short. We're going to be short of 66. The highest we can get is 61, which will be another 9% on this, which will be 92. We will be short by 8%. Tony or Sam, who wants to go next?
Tony, go on, Tony.
Tony wants to go? No. On football, to me, the season's over. We'll see what Lego Man has planned. We'll see his Lego binary, what he's got going with that. As soon as the show over, I'm going to go to
Lego binary
for that.
I love it.
But for me, last week, you still can't take your health for granted. I've been exercising, watching my diet, doing everything I'm supposed to do, then get a spider bite in my hands the fucking size of my head, like a giant balloon. Just take every minute. Don't take any minute for granted. Go live your life like you want to, and cherish every moment you got.
I like that, Tony. That's good. No, it's true. You've been through a lot, and I think you can see from that perspective as well. And listen, if anyone is new here or if anyone is part of the channel, look at the ticker going across there. Have a look at Tony's GoFundMe page.
I like pirates, but not that fucking much. I didn't want to have a hook.
Please support him. Please donate to this guy, and please share the link.
Yeah,
You've been stuck below 1,000 for a long time, and we need to get you up to 6,000. It's going to be a tough one to do. Well, listen, before Sam gets the final say here, I want to thank Alonso and for coming in at the last second. Great substitute to have. A great impact sub to have, Alonso.
We have President Alonso and Pastor Alonso.
Yeah, it was kind of cool, right? That's the feature, right? Part 4. But yeah, I mean, I was at work, so thanks you guys for having me on. Yeah. I'm a little late, but
No, of course. Great to have you. Gary is
80-minute sub.
Gary's spending the evening with his family, so big up Gary and his family. So hopefully he had a good time. And Tony, thanks for joining as well. And listen, before I turn it over to Sam, everybody in the chat sections, this is what makes the channel. It is a football channel, but you can talk about anything within reason, as long as it's mostly tasteful. You can talk about whatever you like in the chat section. I will keep on talking about our football. All right, without further ado, let's get out of here with Sam. Final thoughts, Sam.
Just want to say big up to everyone in the chat, and thanks for having me on again. It's been great. It's always a good therapy session. See the guys in the chat going all music themed today. Stan, you were talking about Rygsopp from Norway. Yep, it's a good band. Check out Kings of Convenience; they're also good from Norway. Big up to Death in Vegas and yeah, you guys should check them out. Fuck Buttons. They're also from Bristol. Pretty good. Go check them out.
haven't
What
heard
about a
any of
Norwegian
this.
death metal band?
You know, as they're good as well. And yeah, so big up to everyone in the chat. As for Arsenal, I mean, it's just at the end of the season now. It's just about getting the most out of our games, just winning them. If we actually win the last 2 games now, we might. If the football gods are on our side, we might actually get ahead of Tottenham, which would be awesome, and we might actually just slip into that 7th spot, which would get us the Europa Conference League. Yay!
But you know, Sam, what that would do? Yet again, another year that would knock Tottenham not out of Europe, but it would knock them down and not put us into Europe. But go ahead.
Yeah, so 7th spot is still within reach. Not likely, but within reach. And yeah, we just got to keep going. And like I said, this summer is going to be a huge summer. I think that's his own podcast, where with the amount of work that needs to actually be done this summer with all the players within the last 2 years of their contracts, and players who need to go on loan or who we're going to keep, and players we actually need to buy in and get rid of. So yeah, there's a hell of a lot going on this summer. It's the biggest summer, or most important summer and most important transfer window, definitely within my lifetime supporting Arsenal. Definitely huge transition. I personally wouldn't be letting Arteta have that transition. I would be personally, if it was up to me, I'll be bringing in a much more experienced manager, a top marquee manager. I'd go and pay them what they deserve for that. And that's pretty much where we are at the moment. But yeah, a good win against Chelsea. You can't complain, even though they played. They had 7 changes. They were still a good team, still good players. So it was a good win, and it's nice to actually feel what it's like to win again. Right? It was nice to get that feeling again. So yeah, hopefully we get to do it the last couple of games, and let's see what the immediate future has in store for us. So onwards and upwards, and yeah, thanks for having me, and big up everyone in the chat. Having a great time there today, we see, and thanks for taking part. And yeah, everyone stay well, stay safe, and yeah, good morning is here now. The fucking sun's come up here now, so I better get going before I turn into dust. I got some busty virgins waiting for me down in the
Crazy
dungeon.
using voodoo math there.
I got some lovely busty virgins. I'm gonna turn bow-legged pretty soon. But yeah, so yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Tyra Banks, I've got her waiting until afterwards as well. Bit of Margaret Robbie as well.
Of juice. I haven't seen you with a box of juice.
I kidnapped Margaret Robbie yesterday. I've got her waiting as well. So yeah, yeah, big up everyone.
Big respect to you, Sam. I always appreciate what you do for us and what you do for the channel, especially this time of the week.
I tell you what, guys, it's therapy. It really, of course, I enjoy your guys, your guys, friendship and banter, and the.
Which I happen as summer gets closer. Sometimes I have to be broadcasting from his coffin.
I love talking to you guys about Arsenal and everything else. And it's been really great. It's like therapy, go through all this together, like a group session. My name is Sam Greenwood, and I'm an alcoholic. I drink far too much vodka. I drink a lot of whiskey and some ethanol as well. Oh, yesterday I started drinking lighter fluid. It wasn't very tasty, but at least I got drunk off of it. Anyway, so yeah, it's been fun.
I have one small piece of
his final words and went to his final monologue.
I'm turning into dust any second now, so it's my final seconds of life here. So better get going.
Final seconds of life, and I have a final piece of bad news for you, Sam. You didn't make
it. Oh, fucking hell. You've got to go off on that, have you?
No, you didn't make it into the cup semifinals here. So first we'll play. Gary will go up against Tony, and I will go up against Alonso in the semifinal of the cup.
Oh, man.
We're going to do the upset challenge in a cup competition as well. Well, you didn't make the cut, Sam. Sorry.
Fuck it out. I'm going to remember that, Raymond, you fucking leprechaun. I'm going to remember that.
Hey, you got to play better. Your season has to be better. You can't just start playing. You can't just start playing December 26th.
But it's funny. Like I came out of nowhere and started winning some games. That was brilliant on my part.
All right, listen. Thanks everyone. Thanks for joining. Thanks for everyone who watches. It It's a unique community. I don't think you'll see another podcast anywhere where you have football in the live stream and you have music in the comment section. That's what happened tonight. It's all good. It's all good. And throw us a
Or
few
Lego binary.
Lego binary football questions and specificity next time, and we'll take care of it. Thanks for watching. We're going to get out of here before the sun creaks through the curtains and turn Sam into dust.
Hurry, hurry. Van Helsing's coming.
3, 2, 1. We're out of here.
See you guys.
See you guys Sunday. We'll do
Bye,
something
guys.
Sunday.